It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Tonight's episode, Triangle of Terror.
So good evening. Let me know how the audio is. Do we have a bunch of fans going? We have a poll going already. So we have 3 votes for the dude with sunglasses and the collar up, and then 1 vote for the dude with no sleeves and a tie. We'll leave that up for a little while, I guess. So this is the 2A wrap up. There's G23. Good afternoon or good evening. Shortest commercial ever. All right, thanks for the feedback. So this is the 2A wrap up. Each week we look back at. All right, I've got the hiccups. So guess what? We're getting a quick commercial while I try to drink these hiccups away. Did that work? Let's find out. Talking immediately after is probably not good for it. All right, well, so each week we look back at the week, and it was stuff that was good in 2A. For people that don't know, 2A means the Second Amendment. So the levels at 2A this week seem to fluctuate between almost no noticeable activity in California. It can only be described as heavy 2A activity in the Northeast and flyover states. Florida wins this week, as always, with the Locked and Loaded Latinos podcast. This was their show called The End of 9mm. So, obviously, that one was a good show. Let's see, what else do we got? Tony went out to Nebraska, and I saw very little coverage. So what's up with that? Anybody notice that there's very little live coverage? Actually, I don't think there was any live coverage. And then I haven't seen any videos except for a couple of pictures on Instagram. So what we got here is pictures from Instagram. Sandhills and him hanging out at some store. Then there's one of the books he gave away, another book he gave away. And then there's this, an article written for him. It's the Fed's dad. I don't know if he got a link in here. So that happened. It was the diversity shoot over in Nebraska, so making it multi-state. At Gun Freedom Radio, they had a few shows this week. I usually post one in here as a representative. This one, the one with Amanda Suffecool, who was in there talking about the. Am I losing internet? Oh, you know what? I'm losing internet. I'm running a commercial.
The DC Project, 50 women descending on our nation's capital to put a face on the Second Amendment.
For me, the Second Amendment is about family heritage.
To defend against hate crimes.
My right to protect my family.
Gives me the right to decide when I need protection.
Because you should never be denied a chance to protect yourself and your loved ones.
My firearm levels the playing field against someone trying to hurt me.
It means survival.
My responsibility.
I am my own first responder.
Because some believe no means yes.
It's a peace of mind.
Provide food for my family.
Recreation and sport.
Confidence that I can take care of myself.
My right to life.
It's my liberty.
I refuse to be a victim.
The protection of my children.
Confidence in our nation's present and future.
Legacy.
Legacy. My birthright as an American.
And mine too.
Right. Well, the goal there was to ride out the poor connection with the commercial and make a bunch of girls pay for my poor connection. So I don't know if that worked or not. Let me cough over here. All right. Well, give us some feedback. Let me see if we're nice. So if we get bad connection, I'm getting a thing over here. The internet's telling me my connection's unstable. But there's only 2 of you watching, so, well, G23 and some narc, I guess. We don't know who the other person is. All right, so that was Gun Freedom Radio. It had Amanda Suffecool on. She was talking about the 2A fashion show, which has been going on, or she's been doing that with other people over the years now since 2014, I think she started, but there's been fashion shows going on in different places in different ways. So good to see that they keep happening, and I believe that those are treading ground for 2A, changing face of 2A, bringing more people in, making it inclusive, right? Different angles of people of interest. Focused on guns and whatnot. So Riding Shotgun with Charlie is one of the few people that are promoting it, really. I mean, Gun Freedom Radio had this channel, or had this video, and unfortunately, Gun Freedom Radio only has 429 subscribers, and this video's only at 14 views. So unfortunately, it's not going to get a lot of coverage on their video alone. However, they get coverage on other platforms and whatnot. But Charlie does have a video that I have not yet horked, but I have posted a few places, and I encourage people to consider doing that. It does promote NRA annual meeting and a fashion show, but we'll keep going. So, besides G23, if anybody else does show up and wants to participate, this is a participatory show. I spend 1/4 of the real estate on the screen having the comments over here so we can see what's going on in live, right, or in real time because we're live. Let's see. So the next thing on the list is, oh really? How about if I refresh? Well, that's interesting. So here's the thing. YouTube hates it when you post links to Instagram. So they're fighting now, and they won't let me click on this and open up Instagram. Stupid Instagram. That's how they're being. All right, well, so this is a link. If you click on it, you might be able to get to it, and it'll take you to Gun Freedom Radio's page and a promotion of their auction that's coming up. It's in a while, but so let people know what's going on. Oh, Charlie does have a good channel. This earlier today, we went through for an hour and a half. We went through every single one of Charlie's videos and judged them, and then picked out the top 10. And those are posted on the video. I don't think I linked to it, but I may have linked to it in this video. All right, so next up is Gun Owners of America, and that takes me back to a poll that we put out pretty much weekly. We go over to the community tab. One of the polls I've been doing on a weekly basis is to ask people what they think of the different organizations, how they're doing just this year. And we're about to talk about Gun Owners of America. Look how Gun Owners of America, this is 150 votes, 158 votes. Gun Owners of America, 53% of those votes, so 70-something% of the vote, 70-something votes, I mean. FPC, who I think arguably could be saying, is doing most of the work this year, it's 30%. Second Amendment Foundation, who I'm sure they think they're doing a lot of work, and I'm sure that they are getting a lot of, doing a lot of things. They're only getting, 6% of the vote from our folks. NRA, which we put on the list due to popular demand, is getting 7% of the vote, more than the Second Amendment Foundation. And fourth option turned out to be people voting for their state organizations, I believe. So, yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. We're going to go back to GOA now. And they do these Minuteman Minutes because they steal off of Minuteman University. I feel like we own Minuteman, but whatever. We'll take them to court at some point when they make a little bit more money. We'll take them to court. So they do this Minuteman moment, and they talk about ways that 2A sanctuaries can be effective and be used.
2A sanctuaries are
war against guns, right? There is a war against guns, and one of the ways we can defend against those attacks is with 2A sanctuaries. So this is, what, a 6-minute video? 8-minute video? It's not very long.
2A sanctuaries are
5-minute video. You go watch that and have, I think, 2 of the arguments are worth listening to. If you've watched this video, then go ahead and comment over here. It still says that I have a poor connection, and it does say that 5 people are watching. We have 1 verified actual user. Let's, see, now it went to 3. So as soon as I start to challenge those users, they flee. So that makes me think that they're narcs. Anyway, let me know if you can hear me or if this is being a really poor connection tonight. Next up is, I noticed, I'm going to try to click on this, but they're not going to be happy about it. Instagram. Oh, maybe I can click on Instagram sometimes. So we're here at GOA is the only organization that helped beat Bloomberg's money. They did it with a lot less money also, right? They did it with grassroots. So I noticed on Girl and a Gun that they've got a Book of the Month deal. And their Book of the Month this month was Deadly Force, a book written by Massad Ayoob. In fact, if we write Deadly Force by Massad Ayoob like this, pop it up over here. Here it is on eBay. I don't like the flag being thrown on the floor like that, but whatever. So we'll go to text link, and I'm going to give y'all a copy of this text link. If y'all want to buy it, then you're basically giving me a huge portion of that sale, and I'm going to spend it on frivolous vices. So anyway, it's $15 to buy Massad Ayoob's book. The deal is, they're members of the Girl in a Gun Club can log in to that monthly meeting, which was yesterday, and chat with Massad Ayoob. How cool is that? So Girl in a Gun Club is better than most of the dudes' gun clubs out there because they actually do stuff. I just said it. All right, so next we'll go to, let's see, 5x5, but playback on last vid was way distorted. That's good because we don't care about it. Oh wait, are you talking about the commercial? The commercial I played during a poor internet connection, so I don't know what's up with that. Oregon Free Firearms Freedom, I think. Oregon Firearms Freedom and Gun Owners America beat Bloomberg's attorneys. Right on. Let's see. So next up is, I don't know if y'all know who Paul Howe is. So Paul Howe is one of the people who is legit. There's lots of non-legit people out there. We're going to click on the Panteo's, what do you call it, like bio page is what I'm guessing this is going to open up eventually. Maybe. This is how bad my internet is. Let's see. So he's a high-risk training instructor for LEO and government security who's evolved from the ranks. Beginning with a brief law enforcement in the 70s, he served 20 years in the Army, 10 of those in special ops. Paul moved through the ranks, served as a tactical team leader, senior instructor when assigned to special operations. During his tour in special operations, he was involved in several combat actions. Upon retirement, Paul started CSAC, Combat Shooting and Tactics, in 2000 as a top-tier leadership and training company. So actually that's very, what's the word, like subtle bio of this dude. So he's got a lot of experience and a lot of insight. He's able to express that or relate that effectively, and he's been an instructor for quite a while. Looks like he's an instructor on a lot of different things. I'm mostly familiar with him as a rifle instructor. So this happens to be a video site, but he mostly does in real life training and stuff like that. So this is from Wilson Combat, who's been impressing me with the amount of awesome. What was that? Impressing me with the amount of awesome content that they've been posting. Very similar to what Panteo Productions has been doing over the years. And this is Paul, and he is in 2 minutes and 45 seconds going to tell you how to set up sort of a no frills AR and turn it into something that has pretty much no frills but the necessities to work. And I think that's pretty neat. It was a good video. Speaking of, well, this one's not that short, but an interesting short-ish video. It was 5 minutes long. This one is from a guy named 957 Shep. I don't know how many people are following this guy's channel. Shep's been around forever. So anyway, he posted this video of a gun shop he went to, and the guy at the gun shop, and he'll tell you in 5 minutes here, but he's basically related to the guy who built these shotguns. And they're not necessarily the fanciest or most interesting shotguns ever, but they're also kind of interesting. And he's got a bunch of them, and he kind of spends 5 minutes talking about it. And it's authentic and real. So if you're looking for real gun stuff that isn't trying to shove nothing India, then that one's the one to check out. Let's see. Then we get regular gun guy who went down and shot in Texas. And this here, come on. This here is a placeholder. I seen this and I thought this was cool because he goes live and they do sort of an after action. They go live and talk about what they did out at the place, right? And it was interesting listening to it because I like live and I'm digging the whole idea of these events more and more, right? Knowing who's legit, knowing who's real, meeting up. There's some people who've had experiences meeting up with others in real life, and there's lots of advantages to that. Lots of opportunities, very little negatives from that. So it's awesome to see people in the world out there, using YouTube, coming together with firearms as their uniting interest, and then developing and sharing that interest. It's a little frustrating seeing that they don't have like knowledgeable people to skip some of the dumb stuff. Everybody's got to learn, right? So, nothing unsafe or anything happening, just watching people have to learn is, you got to always do that. Anyhow, so this was cool, but then this morning, I didn't have a chance to put it in here. 25 minutes. First off, he spent 7 minutes thanking everybody for having a good time, which is awesome because it is neat. It is cool to get together, and it just doesn't just happen. This is something that people put a lot of intent into and then followed through, right, with. Because everybody can talk and blah, blah, blah. And then how often do people actually get together at this number, this level, and then also share it? So hopefully we're not going to get busted for sharing a bunch of this, but we'll share a bunch of it. So it's 24 minutes long, but 10 minutes of it is the range and stuff. So I think this is Texas. Looks like a pretty good facility, though. They got some shade. They got some parking right there. I told them, no, they need to get a bunch of tables, right? Like a whole bunch of card tables would have been good. But they got the pop-up shade. That's pretty decent. They got all these little barrels that they can use as tables and just stack stuff on or whatever. Then they had some lakes, or a lake there, and then they had some targets and stuff. And then it's just a bunch of video of them all screwing around, farting around, and shooting and whatnot. I thought one of the things was interesting is when they're all shooting some machine guns or something over here. There's a time when you just see how everybody basically has a phone, and just how, when something's going on, how everybody pops a phone out. And I can't find it now, but you can imagine there's everybody there has a phone. When something interesting's happening, there's 1,000 phones come out. And I just think that's neat. It's an aspect of it that we didn't have back in the day. And I don't know, just interesting. So this is a pretty cool video to follow up after listening to everybody chat about what went on, to see a bunch of the clips or whatever. And these are clips from regular Gun Guy's channel, so I don't think he gathered up clips from everybody. So that means that, think about it, how many of these other folks are posting on their channels as well. That's the community right there. Oh wait, by the way, it's authentic. There's nobody selling nothing over there except for the individuals in their community that might be doing something or trying to take it to another level or what. There ain't nothing going on there that's like sponsored or trying to con you into nothing. So that's a good one. Let's see. Yankee did one about, what did I post this one for? I feel like every once in a while I should post a video from Yankee. I watch his stuff. I know a lot of people hate Yankee, and then a lot of people can't live without Yankee. It's kind of weird. But I know on one of these I typed in something like, I was about to unsub to your channel, and now I'm going to stay subbed for another week. And then that caused a bunch of uproar. Turns out people don't like it when you say shit like that to Yankee. Let's see. So I was just posting that as an indication that if you are still hating Yankee, every once in a while he does a good video. You should check it out. On those inside gun ones, you don't have to listen to him blab on about whatever. If you hate him, you can just listen to him talk about whatever his point is. It's almost always the opposite of whatever he says in the title because of his clickbaits. Let's go to Ranger Cortez or OG Pumpkin. Dude has 2 new podcasts up, so I need some feedback on what people think. I never did one of his channel yet, just because he doesn't have enough videos yet, at least videos that I watch. Once he's got a couple of podcasts, we'll do a best of. But dude has been in the focus of, or was the guest on one of the bests of from Mic Drop. And since then, I've watched a couple of his interviews and things until he started doing his own podcast. And his own podcast is awesome. So for me, at least, it's right in the right time. I've been listening to Mic Drop, 100-something episodes that are sometimes 4 hours long, just amazing content. Then going into combat stories, which were a whole nother level of awesome combat-focused stuff, but 45 minutes to an hour and a half long type of situation. And then to listen to the OG Pumpkin ones, he's not focused on dudes that have necessarily been there and done that. I think a couple of dudes have been special operations or whatever, but he's also just has people on that are his friends that are doing stuff. And then I guess they had this issue with Stolen Valor in their community, and then like the reaction to that. And that's just a whole different thing. There was Stolen Valor back in the old days, but that was like, some old guy wearing stuff to get free, stuff on holiday for like a free meal or something. Nowadays, people are, what's that called? It's just a honor thieving or whatever. They're doing that to make money. They're making whole businesses based on their fake experiences. And well, first that's going to bother somebody who's actually gone through, some kind of a qualification or served at any length of time or any amount of duration, going on deployments and stuff. That's going to piss off the people who they're faking. But it's just in general, just bad for morale, or whatever you want to call it, like the way things are in general, just because it's you don't want to let shit like that slide. It's just super disrespectful, and it's what's the word? I guess it just plays to the lack of, I gotta say again, respect that is due. Not necessarily has to be, but just should be due to the people that's put it all on the line. And had to leave so many behind. So when people come in and just casually identify as that, F them. So anyway, they've had to deal with this as youngins, and it's a whole different thing. Because again, people are walking in and making a lot of money. And I guess in this case, also suggesting stuff to people that they had no business suggesting, suggesting to people routes to take through, how to navigate through the qualification and school process when if they haven't even been through it, what the hell are they giving that kind of advice for? So it's some interesting stuff. But then OG Pumpkin is entrepreneurial, right? He's into nutrition stuff and also into events. I can't get enough of people gathering, and their focus often in every one of the podcasts has been on the events that they do. And that's the future, right? Gun shows will evolve into these events that are taking place in this next gen of 2A. They don't know they're 2A, but they're 2A. Let's see, next up is Jaeger. What? I put Jaeger and Yankee in the same thing? Yeah, because I know both of them, and they're both decent. Although if you put them both together, it probably wouldn't work out real good. But he's over there talking about keto and OMAD. So if you know what that is, then you know what that is. If you don't, then you can go watch that fairly quick video where he talks about it. I learned a lot. I might do some sort of a vegan keto. I'm going to try doing some kind of vegan keto and see if that's a thing. Then he makes a video about Level being wrong. So, yeah, they're friends or whatever, but I can't, that Level guy rubbed me the wrong way. But basically, I guess Level doesn't want people to move when they shoot. Makes no sense to me. So this is kind of a fun jab at Level, who is Warrior Poet, I guess, telling him that he's an idiot, and Jaeger explaining fairly good, I thought, because of the way the cameraman, I guess I should have let this thing run, because of the way the camera dude, oh, this was move 1. There's a second one called move 2. Click and click. And in this one, it's even better. Because in the first one, he tells you the concept. And in this one, the camera guy does a pretty good job of illustrating why the concepts in the first one. What is this? An Instagram post? Oh, I guess I didn't label it. But Foss, who has a show coming up this weekend, so not tomorrow, but tomorrow night, Foss will be on. And that dude bought some stuff over at the Gear Website store, which I should probably once in a while mention on this show. Today is Free Patch Friday. This dude bought something, and a dude who is not necessarily shown up tonight has bought something, and that was Order 35 and 36 in the fight against Battle and Taxes and Bills. We've only had 2 sales this whole week, so those 2 will definitely get something to say thanks for their help. And I spent a little time this week working on stuff, but we'll definitely be getting back to that battle against taxes and bills, because we got a lot of the bills campaign knocked out, but the taxes one is still sitting there naked, and it ain't afraid. It's just wailing on us. It's sitting there gathering momentum, let's say, if that's what you want to call fees, late fees. That's what's happening, is I'm gathering late fees on the taxes. All right, so next up, so thanks to Foss for grabbing stuff at the store, for one, and then thanks for your patience, because I did send everything out late. Working on the roof and stuff last week was real pain in the butt. So thanks again. And did I put a link to the store? I did. So if anybody wants to buy something from the store, that makes a little noise happen on the phone, and then you'll know that you're helping us, using your capitalism to help us have more capitalism, and we use that to fight bills and, in this case, pay some taxes so that we can turn around and keep doing 2A stuff. And we'll let's take a second and talk about what kind of 2A stuff we were able to do this week. So that's all I wanted to do. So I'm super happy, super stoked when I get to do some of it. So earlier this year, we attempted to write a new book, take this website, Minuteman University, and put it onto paper. So we reorganized it and got a half of it. The site itself has 2 purposes: skills and resources for advocates, right? So there's skills, which is, how to do stuff, and motivation and direction and tool building or tool using, right? And then there's resources, knowledge and information about laws and the community and where we come from. So we took the resources. So here's an illustration of it. We got the resource handbook and the skills handbook. Skills handbook is way in the future. Although it's interesting to me, it's not my forte. It's something that I'm going to need help with. The resource handbook, on the other hand, is just data. It's just knowledge. So that's really what most of this new structure is over here in this giant table of contents or this giant index of the site. You can see skills, very little, even though there's a lot in here. It tells you all about how to build a website, how to work with people, how to deal with people, how to have expectations. There's actually quite a bit of 2 years worth of stuff in here. All the Minuteman University workshops that I did for 2 years, trying to encourage activists to come together twice a week to learn new skills and to apply those skills towards Second Amendment projects. So there's a lot of stuff in here, but like I say, the actual stuff that needs to get put into a book has yet to get organized. So had to start somewhere. We started on the resource side, and it's not little. It's pretty much everything into a sorted into the laws, and then the gun owners' rights lobby, and then the gun industry, the firearm industry. So we broke all that down into what it's like to, or the laws are, and then what it's like to have a gun or own a gun or to be in a world with guns in the United States. So there's a lot to it. And I went through, so we didn't finish the project, and the book was, only a majority of the book was finished, not all of it. So there was a lot of it done though, and things needed to be, or there was work that could have been distributed. So that's what we did. So I'm trying to think of some of the places where we distributed stuff. I guess I don't really have a quick way. Do we have one for 2A doctors? So no, of course I'm picking ones that don't have the stuff applied to it yet. But do I have the state program organizations yet? No. Very well, so this is not going to work. I thought I had, do I have the mental health one? No, I don't even have that one set up. So right now, this is what it looks like. A lot of this is set up and it's not built yet because I built the book side first. So what I guess I did this week is pull some of the book stuff. There we go. So this little image here adds to the rest of the site by giving people a quick look at what else the rest of this stuff is, because this is kind of hard to scroll down and see what's all going on here and interpret it. So taking some of the images from the book and applying them to the website over here. Do I have this one in here? Good. See, here's a better example where this is a page from the book, and I think this helps the website look better or whatever, be more effective, let me get the information across. Anyway, so I was able to sneak a couple hours in to do some of that. So thanks to the Patreons who will say, I'll make a quick commercial here. G23 is asking what it would cost to do a Zone logo patch. I can't do it. My software that I use to make patches is on a subscription, or was on a subscription. It used to be $150 a year, and I let the subscription run out like happens every year. And when I went to go do it again, get the subscription back, they don't have it anymore. Now I have to buy it for a lot more, something like $600, and I can't do that. So I don't have any software now to be able to make new patches. I've done some research exploration into some new software, but none of it's inexpensive. So it'll be an investment, and I have to spend time to figure out which route to go down before I spend, the hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go which direction I go. I don't think there's anybody out there that does that kind of stuff, but if you happen to know somebody that does that kind of stuff, I'd be curious to know what they're doing. I have talked to some other folks in the industry to get their input. So again, I got to shuffle my time, and that's been something that I haven't needed to make a new patch, so I haven't been able to spend a lot of time. Plus, I'm fighting the taxes first, so it'll be a little while before I can do anything like that. Let's see. I can show you this though. In the in the effort to find some software, I found some software, and then let me see if I can find the picture. I found some software, and then it turns out that I put a bunch of effort into, I guess it's not in here. I put a bunch of effort into trying to figure out how to work the software. And guess whose project I tried to try that on? Am I going to be able to find it? I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I'm not going to be able to find it, I guess. No. It wasn't this far though. Anyway, I did play with some software and I got it kind of figured out, and then it turns out you can't do anything with it once you play with it. It was where's that picture at? So once you play with it, you can't save it. You can't push it to the software. You can't do nothing. It just lets you play with the software, and then nothing. You have to pay the full price to be able to print it out. That's weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I could have sworn I got the picture of it. But anyway, so all I was able to do is take a screen image of it. But anyway, I don't know if this one will ever come through or not. Let's see, where were we at? So that was going to Instagram to check out Foss's posting of your website stuff. Thanks again for that. There's an excuse to go over and talk about it being Free Patch Friday. I do try to put stuff on our blog. I don't know if anybody knows, we got a blog over here, and I do try to put stuff in when people put stuff up on the internet to say thanks.
23 and got a mail call for you have the meeting that's done.
And Barbecue just posted one also. Look at how long this is taking. How many pictures do I have with DGS in them? That's really doing some searching. That thing's still been searching this whole time. All right, so next up is Crump, right? Crump. So I got Yankee, Crump, and Jaeger all in the same one. So half the people that watch this hate this show, and the other half of them love this show. Huh, it's still being weird to me. I wonder where that thing went. Okay, well, so I'll quit looking for it. Anyway, I've been kind of stifled on the creating new patches thing. All right, so next up is Crump, and I was just saying that some people hate Crump, but we're going to talk about Crump anyway. And we had a video about slicing the shit out of cheese. What the hell is that video? I get the weirdest commercials. You know what happened is I just did I opened up every single one of Riding Shotgun with Charlie's videos into my history. So before I deleted them, I had the weirdest history ever because I just opened up every single one of Riding Shotgun with Charlie's video. All right, so this is Crump. That's his intro. And he had this guy on who I don't know who this guy is, but it was interesting. And then I forget where he is at. He's in Mexico, I think. And kind of an interesting conversation. And then it kind of got cut short. Do they have any patch making software that isn't subscription based? How much investment are we talking about? So there used to just be a couple of options and like the proprietary versions that came with the machines, from what I understand, at least, that's when I first started looking around. So I went with one that was unfortunately a subscription because the real ones were, let's say, $700, $600 or something, maybe more. A lot of them are packages where you buy like the base and then you buy the pieces you need to do something. I guess somebody who's doing like a fancy letter, with a bunch of script or scroll work or fanciness like calligraphy or whatever, little fancy doodads, like a 9mm shearer would want all kinds of little scrolls and fanciness and little flowers hanging off of everything. So if you want to do that, I guess that's a different type of sewing than, I don't know, what I do, which is making a patch, I guess, or, just a piece of embroidery. And then I think that would be different than maybe something else. I don't even know all the different kinds. But anyway, there's different packages you buy. And I know one of them is lettering. So there's these, it's hard to say how much the softwares cost because there's the base model and then whatever the piece is. Now, there's usually also some robotic stuff that I don't need because I'm good now that I used to have to buy. So anyway, to answer your question, it's not easy. There's not a lot of people that do this stuff. So it's not like, I don't know, something like drawing software where everybody does it. So there's lots of people participating in the discussion. There's very few people that participating in the discussion, and they're all trying to either sell you something or explain it to you. So last time I went with stuff that offered some explanation and was, reasonable cost. And after how many years have I had it? Let's say I've had it 3 years, something like that. I still felt like I did a good job, or I picked the right way, because I don't know if the software would still be, it's not that good a software. I don't know if it would be worth the $600 today even. So basically today, I think the one that somebody I know uses costs $600, and the one I'm looking at is more like $300. So we're talking that range, something like that. For me, it might as well be forever because I got to do the taxes first. Let's see. So, but I am, like I say, trying to pay attention. I wish I could think where the heck I put that thing. I really don't know where else I would have it except for those two places I left. So we had Crump talking to that guy from Mexico. Crump, of course, goes live almost every day. I just pick one that I like to represent his stuff. But he's also the Virginia representative for Gun Owners of America, so he does some stuff for Gun Owners of America as well. I mentioned the poll, right? That I guess we didn't spend a lot of time looking at that poll, but we do a poll every week and ask what people are thinking of the different gun owners' rights groups. And this week, Gun Owners of America wailed on everybody with 53% to 30%, right? So Gun Owners of America is doing all kinds of stuff. Crump is their Virginia dude. Another thing that they did, I guess I could have put this up here with the whole thing about Minute. I don't know why I didn't put these together. Usually I try to put all the Gun Owners of America stuff together. This is this Newsmax interview. So is this going to copyright me? I don't know. I'm not getting any super chats anyway. So let's go ahead and watch a piece of this. So I watched it because it goes, this is huge, right? So I watch it and it's 5 minutes long. And so it's Eric Pratt, right? Son of Larry. And he is the executive, whoever you call it, who always represents him on these TV shows and stuff. And I'm watching this and I'm distracted by just the dumb randomness of these pictures that they're showing as he's talking or whatever. And then I don't get Newsmax. Somebody explain Newsmax to me. Are they pro-freedom? Like, are they pro-rights? Because they seem like idiots. Look at this guy. He looks like an idiot. And he goes, at some point in here, he says something like this. Hold on. I think I can tell because he holds his hands up like an idiot when he says it. And then he smiles like an idiot when he says it. This might be it right here.
Second Amendment says shall not be infringed. Yeah, it's almost like they made it
simple for a reason. All right, so I want to turn to Connecticut, my home state. They hate freedom. They're accused of stopping gun sales because of a new computer system. Basically, the NICS system, which everybody else uses, it works relatively fine. Connecticut says, whoa, we're the government and a bunch of Democrats. We know better, so we're going to put in a new system that is probably the same system they use at the DMV. And now nobody has been able to buy a gun for 2 weeks now.
Gun Owners of America has been involved in a lot of cases like this, and our attorneys are actually looking at this case to see what assistance we might give. And I'll tell you what, Carl, this just underscores how background checks are a huge problem. And, the hypocrisy by the...
Listen to this. Wait, did you hear that?
I'm okay.
Listen to this. This is about to happen. And tell me what Newsmax's deal is. Okay, quit voluming it.
With background checks, as long as...
Hold on. So now I'm going back. Listen to Larry. Can you hear this? I'm going to go turn off the fan while it's playing.
How background checks are a huge problem. And, the hypocrisy by the anti-gun left...
Let's stop you right there. I'm okay with background checks as long as it doesn't hinder me from walking up the door with a gun that I just bought. Is that fair?
But see, why, if you're a law-abiding citizen, why should you have to prove your innocence to the government? If you're married, do you have to prove that you're not a wife beater? A God-given right to do something. I mean, what does shall not be infringed mean?
What in the hell was that? What? Let's play that again.
Shall not God doesn't anti-gun left on
Let's
this.
stop you right there. I'm okay with background checks as long as it doesn't hinder me from walking out the door with a gun that I just bought.
What the F is that? So I had to watch that so that you didn't have to. What the hell was that? I don't know how Eric can even deal with that. What the hell is Newsmax? What is that? What's wrong with these people? People are mad about FUDs. What the hell is that? What is that? All right, next up is the Liberal... Oh, my goodness. So next up is the Liberal Gun Club. I guess I pushed these together for a reason. We don't have anybody out here. Yeah. If it doesn't bother him. So here's the deal. I'm not going to play this one because I was seeing who's out here today. There's some people who are okay with the Liberal Gun Club, and there's some people that hate the Liberal Gun Club. And I don't give a crap anymore. Liberal Gun Club is out for Liberal Gun Club, period. If you watch this, it's at your own discretion, like at your own risk. Let's put it that way. If you watch this thing, I couldn't watch past the first couple of minutes, and it's tough. I can't deal with it. So I can't even. Next up is, so in order to, what the hell was that? I guess got dive bombed by a mosquito. I can't even. Mosquitoes are getting me. So I don't think I know of a reporter that is hard to a sporter. Well, okay, but still. Now we're talking, it's an old video. So this one is just in here to counterbalance the last two. But this
Speaking
is
on behalf of millions of Asian American gun owners.
This is Chris from... What the hell? Sorry about that. This is Chris from April. And I guess we're already copyrighted, so here we go.
Owners, both old and new. Let me send Biden, Harris, Pelosi, and Schumer a very clear message. Your gun control schemes will make us less safe, and you will never take our guns. My name is Chris Chang, and I'm a gay Asian American professional sport shooter and a proud lifetime NRA member. I want to tell you my American story. In 2012, I earned the title of History Channel's Top Shot Season 4 champion as a self-taught amateur shooter. I quit my job at Google and switched careers to focus on firearms, culture, and their role in American history. Following my Top Shot win, I researched gun policy and history, and I was appalled to discover how gun control can be used as a tool of discrimination. While our black brothers and sisters have arguably experienced the most negative impacts of gun control at the hands of the government, Asian Americans have also been negatively affected. For example, in response to mounting pressures during World War II, Executive Order 9066 mandated that more than 110,000 innocent Japanese Americans were to be forcibly relocated to internment camps. This order stripped my Japanese ancestors of their rights and civil liberties. The goal was to keep us unarmed, invisible, and silent. Now, almost 80 years later, Asian Americans are being targeted again by senseless hate. In the last year alone, America has seen a 149% increase in anti-Asian American violence. But let me make one thing clear. We refuse to be silent, and we refuse to be victims. So people who look like me are flocking in droves to buy guns, many seeking to purchase their very first firearm. There is a real and imminent threat, and we need to defend ourselves and our loved ones. Not 3 days or 20 days from now, but right now. And how are Biden, Harris, Pelosi, and Schumer responding to this anti-Asian American violence surge? They exploit the violence to further their own gun control agenda. And as soon as the media cycle is over, the news vans disappear, and something else happens, Asian Americans will be ignored, made to feel small and silent once again. But we need to stand up and speak out and exercise our rights as Americans. Every single piece of gun control the anti-gunners are pushing punish the law-abiding for the acts of criminals. So-called universal background checks threaten the safety of Asian Americans and all Americans who have an imminent need to defend themselves. Assault weapon and high-capacity magazine bans strip Asian Americans and all Americans of millions of commonly owned rifles they use to defend themselves and their loved ones. These guns...
That's where they missed. They could have said in their communities and then shown the riots from whatever, 92, 94, 92.
Gun control schemes are poorly thought out and negatively impact Americans of all walks of life, all races, genders, and sexual orientations in America. Stripping law-abiding citizens of their right to defend themselves is never the answer. Dismantling the Constitution is never the answer. But, unfortunately, that is the path our government is taking. And to that, I implore Asian Americans to join us in defense of freedom and our universal right to self-defense.
So a couple of reasons I wanted to play that. It's 3 minutes long, and I don't care about getting copyrighted. I think it's a good message. I think it was concise, right? And it was on point because nobody really focuses on Asian American issues. So, and then it's Chris. And it's the NRA. They did that back in April. It's got 50,000 views. It's only got 2,000 thumbs up because everybody hates the NRA now. Only 37 thumbs down, though. And then some comments. And so first they leave their comments on. Lots of places leave their comments off, especially on anything that could be controversial. I wanted to play this, though, because NRA never gets any credit for doing anything, and they're still doing stuff at a level bigger than most of us. I mean, there might be people out there getting 50,000 views, but are they focused on 2A? No, they're focused on selling you some crap or a new gizmo for your crap that they sold you last week, or a new color of the gizmo for the crap that they sold you last week. So for 50,000 views in a couple of months on a topic that, could easily be blown off, with Chris as the focus, talking about something interesting for less than 5 minutes. Like, that's the attention span type of stuff. There was some good stuff in there. I mean, they didn't say remove the NFA, unfortunately, but that's about the only thing they missed. Like, there's a good stuff in there. Anyway, so then the other thing is that Chris's magazine that he was on, Recoil magazine, who intentionally put a divisive ad up to distract people from the comment periods. And I said it again, they're distracting people from the comment periods just to sell stupid magazines. And they exploited Chris by doing that stupid shirt garbage and the cover bullshit. So anyway, that stuff's hitting shelves now. And a lot of people are reposting Chris and his divisive cover that Recoil orchestrated, when I believe that there's lots of better ways to portray Chris. For example, this badass 3-minute video that NRA did But also, when he testified to Congress, I still say testifying to Congress should have been Chris's cover on recoil. And if they didn't want to divide, that's what they could have put on there and focused on what Chris does instead of what he wears, right? And plus the gun, you can hardly see the gun and it's recoil. So I think recoil failed, and I think that they're divisive. And I said it again. Let's see. NRA is doing something with the bump stocks now too, and try to help out the GOA. That ain't gonna happen because GOA's got to be like, we're better and we're more whatever. But that's fine. We don't need them all to get together. And I'm not trying to get anybody to join the NRA. I'm just trying to make you not listen to the hype that the NRA ain't doing shit. They're still doing stuff. All right, next up is Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Like I mentioned this morning, I spent an hour and a half going through every single one of Riding Shotgun with Charlie's videos, judging them, and then putting them together so that we got the top 10, right? So this one is this dude, Ben DeWalt. You can watch it if you want. It's interesting. I watched it. At first, I was like, I'm not going to like this guy. And at the end, I'm like, oh, that was interesting. So it's a dude who's been to a lot of different training, and it's interesting to listen to people who've been to a lot of different training, period. That's an interesting one to listen to. So next up is this guy named Barbecue. Is he in here? Probably not, because he's too busy doing something else. Probably getting ready to meet his meat or whatever tomorrow. He's lathering up some meat for his show tomorrow. We can do a commercial for the guy, though. It's longer than G23's commercial, so what we're going to do is make a G23 barbecue sandwich. Now a layer of mayonnaise, and then the other half of the sandwich. Alright, so G23, Barbecue got one of these jelly ball guns. He ain't here to describe it, and for some reason, even though he made a video about it, he never talks about it live. But has anybody ever, show of hands, oh, I guess we're going to do a poll, because that's going to happen. Let me finish doing what I'm doing here, and then when I'm not distracted anymore, I'll go back over here, and we're going to have a poll, and we're going to ask if anybody has ever seen one of these jelly ball guns before. Because Barbecue has one, and he's lording it over everybody, and he doesn't even talk about it, and it's freaking amazing, as far as I can tell. So we're going to go over here now. So I'm going to do that, and then go to the poll. Come on. What do I do? Go to here, and then go to my channel, and then from my channel, I can go to here. Do we have a poll running right now? We do. What do I do? Go to here, 13 votes. All right, 13 votes. Oh, look, it won't even give me my own thumbnail. Dude with sunglasses and collar up won. Guy with no sleeves and a tie comes in close second, kind of. And then dude with, I was going to say mullet, but they all had a mullet. So the guy with the black sleeves and the gray slacks somehow gets a couple of votes. And then black armband guy, I don't know what that guy's thinking. That guy was too edgy for me. All right, so next up is a poll about, come on, look how long it takes. This is censorship. See, you're seeing how long this is taking me. Here, let's do a commercial. All right, so we're asking if you've ever seen a, whatever this is, a jelly ball gun. Boom. So it's a new thing. We're going to go over and hork it off of Barbecue right now. Yeah, exactly. He's horking shit off of this show. That's what I figured. So, first you get, it's not these balls. These are a different ball altogether.
Got to. Yes, that's right.
All right, well, listen to him. So you get this gun, and it's electric and it's full auto, and it's got that hand grenade on top. And that hand grenade is full of, come on, here's a bucket of these little things that look like fish eggs. And if you ever get sushi that has these kind of fish eggs, it's delicious. But anyway, you shoot these little balls out of there that are made out of water and, I don't know, some kind of stuff. And that's pretty neat. These things cost like $80, and they're full auto. So he gives them to children. You know, I don't recommend that. But has anybody ever heard of these things before? Now we're going to go find out if anybody's ever heard of them before. So far we got 7 votes. Let's look. 12 people watching, 7 votes. So what does that tell us? What's the difference? 5. Now I can't vote, so I'm 1. So that means the difference is 4. What does that mean? 4 narcs. Turns out, if you ask a narc if they're a narc, they got to say yes because of the law. Well, you can't, if they're a narc, they can't vote because it's some law. They're to vote in the YouTube poll. So that's how you can immediately tell. If you're running a live chat and you're like, do I got a bunch of narcs listening to this show? Run a poll. And if the number of people who vote is different than the number of people watching, that's the number of narcs you got watching your show. So there's a little trick, a little tip for the content creators out there. So at this point, only one person ever in the whole world has ever even heard of a jelly ball gun. They're amazing. So I looked all around. You can't get them any cheaper than like $80. So that part sucks. But you can get them that look like other guns, that look like real guns and stuff. So they're pretty neat. And the ammo is free. I mean, it's basically free, and that's the best thing about it. And I don't know how fast they shoot, but it looks like they're letting a bunch of kids shoot at each other, so it can't be that hard. So it looks like it's a heck of a lot of fun. Jelly ball gun. Never heard of one before. I think it's cool to find something out that you never heard of before. And I guess barbecue gets the credit for that. Well, we've got Nighthawk Medic out there. Salmon roe sushi, is that what that stuff is? It is amazing. I have also eaten the other kind of egg kind of sushi. Took me a while, and they're pretty good. But they're also way saltier than that one. There was a place called Tokoi, or Todai, Todai sushi buffet, and get ready for this. Don't hurt yourselves or nothing. But look at this place. So this place used to be in Vegas, and they're not in Vegas anymore because the communism or something sucks. But this place, let's see if there's a picture of the one from Vegas. There's not, but it's a sushi all-you-can-eat buffet. So it looks something like this, but bigger than this. So you can't get the scale in one photograph. So there was regular old Chinese food type of stuff, like this kind of stuff for people that can't handle sushi. But for those that can handle sushi, it was just all the sushi you want, sitting there in rolls, ready to go with a sushi person behind there making more all the time. So there's a whole place, a buffet, like a whole restaurant worth of people coming up here and eating as they feel like, and the sushi's just getting made constantly. I mean, I guess some of the weird stuff probably wasn't getting made constantly, but 99% of it was getting made all the time. It was amazing. Look, if you like eating bug legs, they had giant bug legs. And then, I mean, the sushi was insane. And then they also, what's the meat sushi called, where it's just piles of meat? They had a bowl of sushi meat, and you could just go over there and get a bowl of sushi meat like these things if you wanted. Not even on a roll of rice, just a bowl of this meat. I'm talking, it was amazing. And then, I haven't even gotten to the most amazing part for me, was that at the dessert part, which was just as big as the salad part, if not bigger, and it was equally as big as like the soup area, and bigger even. But the dessert part, here's what desserts look like. There was way more than this, but this is a good representation. Tiny little desserts that were complete, not just like a chunk out of a sheet cake like these look like, but notice how even when they're a chunk out of a sheet cake, they each get their own little individual attention. Amazing attention to detail and amazing desserts. Oh, that was half of the best part of Vegas right there, and then they got rid of it. Holy crap. So it's called Todai Sushi. Let's find out where all they are still. They must exist somewhere. Ugh, look at this. Wait, this is saying there's one in Vegas still? Come on, don't be stupid. No, that's some other place. Sambashisha, the sushi, right? So let's see if Todai exists anymore. Around the world. All Todai USA are closed for renovation. We plan to reopen in December of 2017. They never did. I guess they couldn't handle it. They were probably devastating the oceans with their harmful fishing practices. So if I'm going to spend this much time talking about a place that raped the oceans, let's also talk about the Monterey Seafood Guide. So Monterey is somewhere, and then they have like a seafood, or I mean some kind of a, what do you call it, like a fish school or something probably. And they make this guide you can get, and it'll tell you, you can print this out and carry it around in your wallet, or there's an app now. But basically, if you're going somewhere, it'll let you know something on the menu is decent, like it's a good choice, a renewable resource that isn't savaging the freaking ocean. Something that's like, don't do that every day maybe. And then the stuff that just horks the ocean. Fish that are hundreds of years old, that they destroy the environment in order to pull them out of there. And you're just changing the nature of the ocean by eating this shit. And there's no need to when there's just as many things that are basically decent and aren't ravaging the shit out of the ocean. So, eat with intent, or otherwise just be a sucker and eat whatever the international corporations tell you to eat. But I don't like doing that. Anyway, so that was a little bit of more sushi than most people might want, and some ethical seafood practices. Like, I won't eat orange roughy. There's no such thing as orange roughy. That's a 135-year-old fish. Let's see. Bad sturgeon is salty. You're talking about the eggs? I've never eaten that, I don't think. Or if I did, I don't remember. I might have eaten like one weird, like, what do they eat them off of? Like a bone spoon or something? I might have eaten like one bone spoon of caviar in my life, but I just don't remember. I don't know if I remember it being salty or if I've just always heard that. Most of us can't afford the good stuff. I don't know if you're talking about sushi or caviar, but I've never eaten any caviar. Like I said. Bacon sushi? See, that's the thing. Are you talking the raw bacon sushi? I've seen that, and I am not a big fan of that. I don't want to eat a shark. Here's the thing. I don't know where the shark steaks come from, but I've ate shark before, and it's better than regular fish. But yeah, I don't eat it anymore because I don't want to be killing sharks either for no reason. On the other hand, if it's some shark being caught in a way that's worth eating it, then it's meat. It's not fish. All right, now let's get back to non-food related stuff. Cooked at 400 degrees on the bacon sushi. If it's just plain old bacon wrapped around some kind of rice or something, I might eat it. I've eaten one that my friends always get. I think it's called a Vegas roll. And I think, if I'm remembering it right, it's fake. It's like cottage, it's like cream cheese, something, and shrimp maybe, cream cheese, something in the middle, wrapped in rice. And then there's bacon on it, I think, and jalapenos or something, and then they batter it, and then they deep fry it. So it's cooked on the outside, right? That batter part gets cooked. The inside is still kind of like a raw piece of, it's not raw, it's just a cold piece of shrimp. It's been cooked and now it's cold, like if you're eating a shrimp cocktail. But then it's got like cream cheese or something. They really like it, and occasionally I'll eat a piece of that, but it's just got too much going on. It's too creamy and weird. It's not sushi, it's more like some kind of weird, I don't know what they call that kind of stuff. All right, well, so again, that's a little side thing. If you like talking about food, then you're human, because most of us end up talking about food at some point. We were talking about riding shotgun with Charlie, maybe, and we spent an hour and a half listening or watching all of his stuff. Oh, no, we were at the Jelly Balls, and that was the whole sushi thing. All right, next. Two-wayer than a Nortado. It turns out that if you go around acting like you're more 2A than other people, they'll get offended and then quit being 2A. So be careful. Some people can't handle getting pushed around, especially in the 2A realm. And then what happens is we lose them because they're fragile. So if there's a 9mm shooter, for example, and they're acting like they're big and tough in 2A, you just got to go, wow, you're big and tough in 2A. Like, you're really 2A at it. Like, you're really good at it. Let's see. Then we get Mastodon and the Fediverse. So we'll go back and have a different poll here. So anybody ever seen a jelly ball gun? With 13 votes out of 12, that means there's the anti-narcs. There's not even any narcs in here. We'll ask another poll whenever we're done being censored. Ask yourself, if you're watching somebody else's chat and they're not using the poll feature, do they just hate you or do they not care about you? Because this lets you be part of the show. And after all, isn't this show all about you? What the hell's wrong with them? They don't even care about you. So here's Mastodon and the Fediverse. Have you ever heard of, so let's just type in here, ever heard of Mastodon and the Fediverse? Interesting. We'll see what people say about this poll after a little while. So then we'll go back to that. How about that? Once we see what people think. Here's what it says right here. Best privately owned military collection, question mark, 167,000 subs. So I'm happy to say that Dragon Man now has more subscribers on YouTube than me, which is a long time coming. He's way better channel, deserves having way more viewers. Look at this high def freaking walkthrough. So what is this? Are you saying that that's every uniform from World War II? 1,400 of them? Yeah, that's what that is. So this is Dragon Man taking you through, I would say 90% of the tour that you would go through at his museum this year. Keeping in mind that Dragon Man adds something like 10,000 square feet to his museum each year. So since the last time I visited a year and a half ago, he's expanded twice. So I don't even have any idea how big the museum is except for watching videos like this. Dragon Man is 75 years old. He's constantly acquiring new stuff, including vehicles. His museum is set up in such a way that he will take each of these military vehicles, I think maybe all but maybe that one Dodge, out and drive them. Maybe he does drive the Dodge, for crying out loud. But he'll take the military vehicles out twice a year and drive them around his property, offer that, have a little insight to that as videos. And man, if you haven't been to Dragon Man's before, this is 13 minutes that, I don't know, like you owe barbecue for this because somebody owes somebody something for this. This is awesome. Plus now he's got Revolutionary War and Civil War. He's never had that before. He doesn't even take you through the hot rods. So anyway, Dragon Man's awesome, and he takes you through for 13 minutes through his collection. Pretty much every day they post something from Dragon Man. They kind of suck at their channel. If we were ever to judge their channel, they would suck. But it doesn't matter because he's a destination site, and he's Dragon Man. So here's Dragon Man just hanging out. Look at how many people are zipping around in his property here on the dirt bike tracks. He's over here just chatting with people, blah, blah, blah. But I thought this was pretty neat. Mainly because when I was a little kid, I knew little kids that dirt biked all the time. And I think it's funny now because they always look like they got big ass heads. So here's Dragon Man talking to this little 6-year-old kid on his little baby dirt bike, big ass helmet. And I'm imagining that kid's going to go tool around in the desert of Colorado, unsupervised, blowing around on a, whatever that size is. Are those 75s? They're not 120. I don't remember anymore what those things are. The little 75. I just thought that was cool. So Dragon Man's out there doing fun stuff all the time. If you're not following his channel, I guess you're allowed to not follow his channel, but I guess. So then we get Roll Call. Is Dragon Man open year-round? No. He's only open from like April to October, like Labor Day to Memorial Day or something like that. So you can only go there during the nice part of the year. The rest of the year, his facility's open. The ranges are open to shoot. His dirt bike tracks are open. And then the paintball and stuff, I'm pretty sure, is open all the time. but the museum is just during the season. And then during the rest of the time, he's upgrading the museum and, well, upgrading the museum, and I guess working on his motorcycle parts. What we probably need to do is take a cue from the other people who meet up. And here's the meetup that should happen. We're going to go to Google Map right now. Don't be scared. I'm going to open up Google Maps. This isn't magic or witchcraftery. This is simply electronics. Using electronics technology, we're going to zoom out of the Earth. Like if I flew up in the air from Arizona, oops, flew too high in the air. And then we're going to zoom back down into the air, into the state of Colorado and New Mexico, which are right here on top of each other. Let's get rid of this. And here's the deal. Here's what needs to happen. A bunch of people need to either fly into Albuquerque or Denver. This can happen in either direction. I suggest for this scenario, let's fly into Albuquerque. In Albuquerque, if you head over to this road and somewhere down here, you're going to find, if that's the Whataburger and that's the Walmart, then right around here, you're going to find this gun shop that's pretty awesome. I think that's it right there, actually. You're going to find this gun shop that's pretty awesome, and we'll check that out. There's a couple of, oh, there it is. Two places off. So there's BMC Tactical, a great shop in New Mexico, good place to start the tour. So let's say we would meet up in Albuquerque as a group. There's also a massively cool surplus store over here, and then a couple of other interesting things to do in Albuquerque. Then we would all gather, right? Everyone flies into Albuquerque and rents vehicles. Now, if some people rent vehicles or if some people drive there and we cannonball run type of situation, I believe a cannonball run type of situation is appropriate for this situation, for this adventure. So now we're in a bunch of different vehicles, and let's say there's a bunch of different adventures. One of them is to go to Santa Fe, and if anybody has seen the show, what's the name of that show? What's the name of that show where the guy was a sheriff in Wyoming? And it had the chick from Battlestar Galactica on it, and they carried a 1911 on that show. That show, everybody liked it. That show, it was on like TV for a couple of seasons, I think. Maybe a good channel, maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. Anyway, there was a place in there that was filmed in Santa Fe, and me and Bob went there. Otherwise, whatever. So let's say there's something to do in Santa Fe. Then you go to Las Vegas, New Mexico, and that's where Red Dawn was filmed, so there'll be some adventures there. Then you go to the next town over from Las Vegas, New Mexico, and you get to where the NRA range is here in New Mexico. So if we go out here to pretty much the middle of nowhere and then drive this road out of town, and which road is it? Is it this road? It can't be this road. Anyway, you drive out of town. Here it is. You drive out of town, and you get to this place is the NRA museum. Well, there's an NRA museum here. This piece is the library. This piece is the museum. This piece is a gun show. You don't really get to go in those pieces. And then this is the gate. And you go through the gate down this road past a shit ton of NRA flags and stuff, and you go all the way down this road, and there's elks and antelopes hanging out and being cool while you're there. And let's see how many ranges we can see from space. So first we're going to come in from over here and check in and pay or whatever, they like money. And then you come in over here, and then this area is some sort of a clubhouse or something, I think. Over here somewhere there is like townhomes and things. I guess that's over here. There's these like townhomes you can rent. There's like houses you can rent. There's like places you can live in an RV while you're there. So there's places to bivouac here at the NRA place. So here's the NRA entrance. You come in off of this entrance. You drive in here's the places where you can stay in the center, let's say. You're going to drive past, let's get rid of that. You're going to drive past this skeet range. You can tell from space what that is. You're going to drive past that trap range. You're going to drive, that's the place to live. You got this range, which is a whole bunch of ranges. You got these ranges, which are a bunch of ranges. You got all these ranges going on, which look to be a little less developed. Who knows what's going on over here? Probably archery or something, action, right? Did we go over here and look at these long range ranges? And then you go down this road and there's some ranges over here. Then you got ranges over here. And yeah, you can just rent whatever ranges for whatever kind of situation you want. And however many people you got out there, you just use the appropriate number of ranges. There's roads to it all. And, you know, they're like dirt roads or whatever. But look how massive of scale this is. This is the largest facility, period. So first we would go to Albuquerque. Then we would go to the place where Red Dawn was filmed and hang out and do adventures. Then go to this place where the NRA place is. Then drive up through Pueblo, Colorado, right? And then get to Colorado Springs. Head over a little bit from Colorado Springs, just a little bit. And somewhere in here is Dragonman's. So is it before this little rivery thing? No, it's past the airport. Anyway, Dragonman's is over here someplace. Then once we go to Dragonman's, go to the museum and shoot at Dragonman's place, right? Because everybody will have their guns and stuff. Then we go to Denver, and then people can fly out from Denver. And there's a couple of interesting things to see in Denver. So anyway, that's what I think would be neat. Driving from Albuquerque to Denver, one way, and then the people that drive would either drive to Albuquerque and drive home from Denver, and then do it in some sort of a cannonball run situation where you have objectives and contests and feats of strength and whatnot. Bob knows what we're talking about. So, yeah, that would be pretty awesome. And that would be undone before, unprecedented, and unlike all the other garbage, it wouldn't be sponsored by a bunch of sucks, and it would be awesome. So yeah, eventually one day we'll make that happen. And Dragonman's will be part of that. So, the 80s. I don't know what that means. Did you know they're rebooting Battlestar Galactica? It needs to happen, so good. NRA is quite the compound. It's a pretty awesome place. That was all some rich guy who gave it to the NRA. So rich guys suck. There's Bob. Let's see. So next up is roll call in his garden update. First, let's go back over and see what people have been saying. Ever heard of Mastodon and the Fediverse? So out of 12 votes, 3 people have said yes and 6 people said no. I think that's how that comes out. So Mastodon and the Fediverse. Mastodon is like Twitter. And then there's other things like PeerTube, which is YouTube, and Plume, which I think is Instagram or something. So what it is a system of universal language or universal interface, like precedent, I guess. So there's this like common language that's used, and then people can build their own platforms, so to speak, their own instances on these platforms that can have their own terms of service. They can have their own physical makeup or look or objective, like they're modular pieces that use a similar undercode or underlaying code, foundation, or whatever you want to say, and then those make up the Fediverse. So Mastodon is Instagram or Twitter or something. It's like a texting, communication type of thing. You got your PeerTube, which is your video sharing situation, and let's say different versions of the different things that are out there. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter are usually your texting type of communication, your photograph type of communication, and then your video type of communication. And then there's probably something that emulates stupid Facebook or something. And then you create your version of your instance on the application, and ActivityPub, I guess, is the underlying common language or common code. And then that becomes the Fediverse. Those independent pieces are the Fediverse. So I became aware of that a couple weeks ago, and I've been doing a little bit of research on it. Be curious if someone's interested in that. That would be interesting. He doesn't care about guns anymore. It would be interesting to have a better conversation with about this with somebody who knows what's going on, and then find out how many people are using it, because I'm down, but I'm not going to do something that's completely different like this without somebody else to chat with over there. There's quite a few platforms that are being made, and it's amazing how many of them are using the same, literally the same software, but if not the same software, the same infrastructure kind of layout as what we did on gun channels. So I don't trust any of those, honestly. Those things are tough. They require a lot of upkeep and maintenance, and there's more working against them than there is working towards them. So until I see something that's different and unique, I'm not going to have full faith in or full interest in seeing it succeed or whatever. This is that direction. This is something different that has a lot of potential. However, there's a lot of, well, we're going to say like not used. It's not being used yet. So there's a lot of question marks. Yeah, exactly. You could probably get them to do that for sure. Let's see. Then we went through Dragon Man, so that was the whole Mastodon and Activity Pub type of thing. We'll close that poll. End poll. So nobody knew what it was. I didn't either. Next up is roll call. He keeps trying to get out of it, but we're going to look at it, even though he's trying to make it so that we'd skip this one. So he had this video, and he goes around his yard or whatever, and he's showing off all his white rocks and shit. And then he goes over here, and he shows off he's got a bunch of ducks and chickens, and he's got this garden, and he can just put his garden in the ground, and it'll just grow or whatever. And that's what I want to see. Who all thinks this is really his garden, and who all thinks this is CGI? I've seen too many glitches in it, and it's fake, so I really think it's CGI. So we're going to make that the next poll. Go over here. Is roll calls garden fake? CGI fake. Yes. No, let's say it's fake. CGI. Or it's wrong. All right, boom. So that's the next poll. Look at that, fake. Anybody knows that's not what a carrot looks like? All right, and then next is the video where we came up with the polls. So we decided that YouTube should have a poll option, and we petitioned them to do it, and then they said, okay, let's do it. So they worked real hard and made the function. Now we can do polls all the time. So in this video, we spent 2 hours doing polls and going nuts, trying to break it and whatnot. Did pretty good, and we pulled the shit out of YouTube. I now know everything about the audience, and now selling that for big money to the influencers out there. Oh, to snap! Look at that, $4 coming in right now. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Only sold 2 things in the store today, so that's probably a good chunk of our income this week. Thank you very much. Let's see. So that was the polls thing. See if we're getting any action. Oh, look at that. There's a cup of coffee over here. What? Why is this other poll? Is it? Oh, it's happening. Only got 3 votes, and people can tell that it's fake. So we're seeing what's happening there. Here's what's happening. On Monday, we started a new thing where we're going to review movies. It got weird really fast. So I don't care if you watch your movies on YouTube or not. That's up to you. We're just going to make that a point right at the beginning. YouTube commercials are weird. So if you don't want to watch stuff on YouTube, don't bother. I don't care. But it'll give you an idea of, I think for the next 20 weeks or something, there's going to be a free video review. So you get what you pay for. That's happening. and now we got 2 episodes of Johnny Rollins Shooting Show. So let's see. We got 13 people watching. We're an hour and a half in. I don't get paid enough for this. So we're going to go end this one. We all know that it is fake. And now that I've ended it on that note, boom, it's now, oh snap. Bob the Italian Bob. No, he's not Italian. We got that poll in there. Next we'll go with, do we go full Johnny Roland? Full 460. Oh look, there's a little avocado flying around. Full 460. No. Caliber. No. Stopping power. Don't get confused with stopping power meaning we're stopping, because okay, there's our 2 options. No, it's not ed the show, it's end. Oh, look, you can't. I'm going to say end show now. So, boom, there's your 2 options. Do we go into Johnny? Are you awake enough to deal with Johnny Roland for a while? Or do you need to break because you're 9mm shooters and it's past your bedtime and this is getting frustrating and there's so many words and you're challenged instead of being catered to and coddled? I need to be coddled. I need my belly to be rubbed. I can rub this dog's belly if I need to rub the belly. I don't need to talk to a bunch of people on Friday to rub their belly. Oh, look, we got a 50-50. So basically half the people are like, end this. I hate this. I'm a narc. End it. Oh, it's the narc. What do you call it? What do you call that? The narc paradox. They want to say end the show, but they're a narc and they're not allowed to vote. So do they do their true narc tendency and say, I don't want to draw the show anymore because I shoot 9mm and I can't handle it? Or, and then get fired, or do they not vote and let the full 460 Roland stopping power happen? This is real. So other chats are like, hey, we got a script and I need to go live long enough to make like $14 in super chats. Boom, boom, right like that, boom. I don't even know if I'm going to make that $14 because I got copyrighted. You might have just given $14 to YouTube or whoever I copyrighted. But I appreciate the gesture for sure. Just a FYI, with this dude, he offered a very substantial super chat a month ago, and I was concerned about the second one. It turns out they did both come through, so thank you very much for that contribution to our projects. Anyway, a lot of people who create these contents will say, you know what I'm going to do? Go live until I make, I don't know, $700 or $800 in super chats, and then I'll end the show. Well, we don't do it that way because we don't care about that. Plus, I'm not going to make $800 in super chats. So we do it with your input. So now we have 3 votes, and of the 10 people watching, I'm one of them, so that's 9 people. We only got 3 votes. So that means there's 6 narcs. Those are narcotics officers watching this show, and one of them left because they got called out, and they're undercover, so they don't want to be called out. And then only 3 regular humans are watching the show, and one of them, I don't know, wants to end the show because they need a break. They hate this. I'm going to watch this, but I'm also going to hate it. So we'll wait a little bit longer and see what happens. Am I losing connection? According to this, we've lost unstable connection. So it's an hour and a half in. So I've already made $14. So what does Bob think about being called an Italian? Ooh, snap. So there's another $50. Now I'm definitely done. Is that your way of saying end this? Now we have 5 votes. Boom, we're going full Johnny Rollins dropping power. So again, appreciate it very much because that is more than I made in the store this week. So, we got Patreons. Thank you very much. And then they're keeping us in business. And then we got the store. So you just brought in, with those super chats for sure, more money than the store has by quite a bit actually this week. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And we will now quit looking at this. We will go to, I guess we'll leave that running, even though we're going to do this anyway. We're going to go get copyrighted. So I've actually watched 3 Johnny Rollins this week, but I'm saving one for next week. Whenever I watch them, I care. So I put in this little index so you can also go straight to whatever and not waste your time like a bunch of jerks. Oh, snap. Somebody bought something from the store? That's what happens. A little noise goes off. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch Gary's commercial for, well, not a commercial, Gary's project thing, and then I'm going to go see what happened over at the store.
Hi, everybody. Wanted to remind everybody that today is Friday, and that means foul territory, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. But that's not the real reason I'm here today. I want to talk to you about a challenge I'm wanting to do for Every Second Matters. That is this coming Monday, August the 2nd. So what I would like to challenge everyone to do is record a video of yourself reciting the Second Amendment. You can do that with musical accompaniment or however you want to do it. You can make it a YouTube short. But ideally, I would like to release all those on August the 2nd, since it's Every Second Matters, and use the hashtag GGE2M Challenge. That's GGE2M Challenge. So anyway, look forward to seeing your video responses. This is Gizzard Gary. And remember, give them the bird. We'll talk to you later. Hi, everybody.
Right on. So Gary's doing a Every Second Matters challenge. GG for Gizzard Gary, E2M for Every Second Matters challenge. So hashtag GGE2M challenge. And recite the Second Amendment. I think that's pretty cool. New take on Every Second Matters, considering it's been around for like 7 years. So 7 years worth of 12 months. There's no way to actually calculate how many months that's been. But if that was possible, it would be a lot of months. Now let's take a look at that shirt that he's wearing there. Does anybody know where that shirt comes from? If you went online and you looked up Red Dawn hide hole scene, and then you went to videos, you would get to a part of Red Dawn. Oh, I'm definitely going to get copyrighted if I look at this, huh? So you're definitely going to get, or you're going to get to a part of Red Dawn where they drive a tank in, and then the girl comes up with her bicycle, and they grab her stuff. They grab her picnic basket, and they throw it into their tank. Suckers, that was an IED. So, boom, the thing went off inside their tank, and then they're like, let's go grab the girl. And then what happens is they all jump out of the hidey hole, right? And when they jump out of the hidey hole, dang it, there's this scene right here. Notice this guy in the hidey hole. Who's that? Well, unfortunately, let's not talk about who it is. But look what he's wearing, right? And now let's go look at Gary's shirt. What? Yeah, Gary was the actor in that movie. A lot of people don't know that Gizzard is the actor in Red Dawn. And this is the scene, and he's wearing his shirt. And you can tell by looking at it that that is Gary in that scene from Red Dawn. And that's the shirt. You can get that shirt wherever Gary got it. I forget where I have it. All right, so now we're going to Johnny Rollins show. This one is from 1990. There's a lot of Johnny Rollins shooting shows. Let's go find out what the deal is, what I'm even talking about. So if you're new to my show, welcome. If you're new to Johnny Rollins Shooting Show Archives, it's a channel on YouTube. You go to the About tab. It's been around since just 2019. It's a baby channel. Here's the description of the channel. This channel is just dedicated to Johnny Rollins' shooting show that aired from around 1990 to 2001. I ended up with almost all the VHS tapes and masters from this show, as they were bought from a storage locker auction and bound for the landfill. A friend of mine brought them to me, and so I figured I would digitize them all and upload them here. All credit goes to Johnny Rollins, who now lives in Tombstone, Arizona. Thanks, Johnny, for making the show. Johnny is the creator of the 460 Roland cartridge, which gives the true 44 Magnum power in a semi-auto platform. Clark's Custom Guns, and Johnny brought this to life, and I personally love the round. It's a reloader's delight, much like the 300 Blackout and 10mm. As you know and might have seen, Johnny is a very passionate person when it comes to life, liberty, corruption, and other views he shares on the show. So with that being said, the views expressed in this show are not necessarily that of this channel manager. Everything here is subject to free will. Enjoy. So the story is that these things were recorded from 1990 to 2001. Somehow they miraculously ended up on the line where we can watch them. They're a glimpse back to the beginnings. So let's think about that. The 460 Roland was made by Johnny Roland and Clark Custom Guns. Clark Custom Guns had a daughter named Kay Clark, and that daughter married Micklick. So Jerry Micklick's wife, Kay Micklick, is the daughter of the family that helped Johnny Roland develop the 460 cartridge. The 460 cartridge was developed to be the .44 Magnum in 1911 to help keep this show on the air. It was developed as a creative attempt to use capitalism, firearms technology, and ammunition development to keep a VHS-based satellite distributed, gun-related, Second Amendment-focused project on the air. Everything about that is amazing and awesome. And this is one of the shows from 1990. So it's got Micklick in it. It's got Bob Munden. I forget who that is. And it's got all kinds of shit. So it starts off with an 45 ACP revolver. It's got a 10mm revolver in it. You got Rob Latham in this like video that I think Dylan made. So they gave it to Johnny to kind of show people. You got Johnny talking about gun safety in the middle of this whole thing for like a while with his friend from Texas.
This afternoon of it and possibly playing with it. One method of safeguarding this gun is to take a regular padlock.
It's so much of what I watch on this show is like equals exactly what people did later. I now believe that most of the YouTubers watch Johnny Roland and are literally just copying off of him. He did all this stuff in 1990, and everybody else is just doing it again. So you have this weird like section on gun safety. By the way, this guy, I've seen a whole show where this guy talks about his feats. He's like a bodybuilding guy and like a strongman, and he also is a high diver, and he's got some records for high diving off of stuff. I would have never thought it was so interesting to hear about high diving. This guy high dived off of an oil rig, one of the highest high dives ever. Anyway, it's interesting. So they're talking about gun safety and gun locks in 1990. Was 1990 before the stupid law that required gun locks? I'm pretty sure it was. Then in the middle of a thing, there's this musical section. So did you know Johnny's like able to, well, he sings. I've seen him play the piano. I've seen him play the saxophone. Like a whole bunch of these early ones have people playing music right in the middle of them. A couple of 2 minutes later, you get this hybrid compensated 1911, which it's a place out of...
I'm Whitedecker, famous gun writer. I got my famous gun writer's outfit on here, my woolly bully sweater, my Chuck Taylor slacks, and my Banana Republic bush vest. This is...
So he talks about having this 1911 that's got ports in it, and in 1990, I guess ports were a thing, or like they needed to explain them. Then you get a little nod to the Pine Barren Sportsman's Range, which is a place in New Jersey, an outdoor range where this thing was filmed. Then he gets into revolvers. Ready for this? Sit down. Hold on. You better sit down for this. Ooh, no, sit down for this. Here's what's about to happen. Oh, I passed it. So we'll go back over here and we'll click on, boom.
North American Arms 22 Magnum mini revolver.
What?
Another company, Freedom Arms, makes a very fine little revolver. This one happens to be a North American Arms.
What? Johnny Roland talking about the North American Arms mini revolver. That's right. Happened right there in front of you. Next up, he's talking to this guy. Oh, this is actually a video of this guy shooting super fast. Okay, so basically it's interesting. This guy is the fastest shot, I guess, period. And here's the money shot at the end. So he's going to shoot, just like he just shot one balloon right there, he's going to shoot 2 balloons with a single action revolver. And this is what's going to happen. Boom, that was shooting. Let me hit backwards. Boom. This is 2 shots.
Please check the gun and ammunition. Make sure both.
All right, now I'm not going to be able to hit anymore. So anyway, that guy shoots that fast. Pretty neat. So then you get him singing again. And then this Jerry Ahern's video zine. Did Alan Anker make that graphic? Yes. It might as well be a modern YouTube video. It's amazing. So then Tab Can interviews Jerry Michalik.
Tab Can interviewing probably the world's fastest revolver shooter, Jerry Michalik from Team Smith.
All right. And then 5 seconds later, well, then they interview a gun shop, and then...
This is Kate Clark from Clark Custom Guns, Keithville, Louisiana.
So that's before they were married, I guess. And then this.
Beautiful Berryville, Arkansas, and we're in the Saunders Museum. And here with us we have Miss Hazel Prentice.
So y'all don't even know. They spend like 4 seconds here introducing the Saunders Museum. Saunders Museum, let's go back to Google Earth or Google Maps. Don't get scared. Google Map. And we're going to zoom out from Arizona. Oh, come on. Things I got to click. We're going to zoom out from Arizona. Don't get scared. And now we're going to zoom back out there from Arizona. We're going to zoom over to Arkansas. We're going to zoom into the top of Arkansas. And somewhere up here is Berryville. Look for the lack of straight lines and a bunch of curvy lines, and that's where Berrysville will be. It's impossible to just find. It's way north of Little Rock. So it's way up here somewhere, and eventually we'll find it. There it is. So it's on this squiggly line over here, which is actually a road. Now, what's so good about Berryville? Well, Wilson Combat and Nighthawk Custom are both there. There might be other things, but who cares, right? Now, the main thing in town, the main, what do you call it? Like the City Hall or something, was donated by some guy named Saunders, who was like a rich guy. You know how rich people are. And this rich guy had a gun collection. And then in this gun collection, or he has this gun collection, and he says, you know what, the town can just have my gun collection. And they're like, what are we going to do with your gun collection? And he's like, you know what, that's a good point. Why don't you also just have this museum that you can put my gun collection in? And they're like, all right. So that's what we got going on here. And if I can ever get the little guy to drop down on the street where he's supposed to, boom, there's the Saunders Museum. So me and Haas were in Berryville in 2012, thanks to Chris Costa. And we toured Nighthawk, and we got there at like 5 in the morning or something, and toured the museum and everything, or toured the factory and everything before 7 a.m. So it was like 7 or 8 a.m. and we're leaving town, heading to Little Rock for some other business we had. And there, the guys at Nighthawk were like, oh, you guys are going to love the Saunders Museum. Like, this is right up your alley. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then they're like, oh, yeah, all you got to do is wait till like 9 a.m. or whatever, and then it'll open. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't got that kind of time. Dumbass decision I ever made. So this museum is the shit. It's one of the better it's one of the interesting gun museums we got in the country. And I stood right here. I literally stood over here, looked in the window and stuff. Got a picture of the cop car in front of it, and we're like standing around. But we had like 2 hours, so we're not going to sit around for 2 hours because we're much too important for that. So I left, and now I got to drive back to Berryville, Indiana, or Berryville, Arkansas, to go to that museum. Blech. So instead of me having to drive all the way to Berryville to see that museum, right? Because you're not gonna, I have to go there. Here's Johnny Rowland in 1990. He was already there. He's inside. Right? He got even further than I did. And he's talking to the old people that run the thing, right? and then it ends.
Mr. Harold Emmett, and they're going to be what's that walking around. Look forward to seeing the museum on a future show.
So now I got something to look for. Other people search for gold. Some people look for blood diamonds. What I'm going to look for is Saunders Museum tour in the Johnny Rowland Shoot and Show video archives. So if you ever find the Saunders Museum in there, let me know. Awesome. So stoked. So anyway, there's lots of good stuff in here and 2 singing things. Right. So that's a show from 1990. The other one, what is this? This is that poll. Close that already. What do we got going on over here? Oh, we got full 9 votes, only 1 narc, maybe a friend of a narc. I don't know how they work this out legally. Everybody else voted for full stopping power. So next we're going to go to the next Johnny Rowland Shoot and Show, which was from 1991. So it's not quite as old, but it's still old. Johnny Rowland. So let's see what we got going on here. First, Springfield 1911, then Machine Gun Magic. What?
When I was 6 years old and living in Florida, my Aunt Dot went to England as a nurse during World War II. Before she left, she promised to bring me back a machine gun, and I was bitterly disappointed when she came home without it. She swears to this day that she had the gun, but they took it away from her when she went to get on board the ship. I might be a little older now, but not much has changed. I still enjoy machine guns, and I know that thousands of others out there do too. What you're about to see is the fun, the history, and some straight talk about one of the most misunderstood pieces of engineering in America. We'll be showing and shooting the widest array of machine guns ever assembled, from the oldest to the very latest. We'll talk about some of the developments in engineering, the mistakes, twists, and turns the gun has taken. If you've never shot a machine gun, or even if you have, we think you're about to embark on a fascinating journey that will include a grand finale worth waiting for.
All right, so if you don't know, Dylan Precision, the reloading stuff is Echo out here right now. Echo's reloading chamber does reloading chats every week with Dead Horse and other people who are into reloading, and it's the good people that like reloading. And this guy Dylan decides, you know what we need to do is have some sort of reloader type of situation, and so that people can shoot competitively and actually afford to shoot competitively. And if you listen to some of the people that helped develop, like IPSC and IDPA back in the day, they credit Dylan with making it possible for people to get practiced enough to be competitive in competitive sports. So this guy creates a reloader that's a progressive reloader that allows people to reload faster, with more quantity, I guess, in the same amount of time. What was that weird noise? Than standard old-fashioned reloaders that your grandpa used to use. And because of that, he acquired a bunch of money. Being a capitalist and whatnot, he acquired a bunch of money. And then he took that money and bought machine guns with it, and then both recreational machine guns and machine guns that he used for development of the minigun. And then he invented the minigun and sold that to the military. So I'm pretty sure there's few people that have as much money as this guy, at least in our industry. I don't know what that noise is. Some noise is distracting me. But needless to say, Dylan is synonymous with being a very extravagant gun owner. And he owns a lot of machine guns, he owns a lot of property, and he shoots his many giant belt-fed machine guns at aerial targets, meaning targets that are in the air flying around, and he owns hundreds of acres, if not thousands of acres, that he flies around in a helicopter to make sure that there's nobody out there before he starts shooting like multiple 50 cal machine guns at aerial targets. And in this video, they share some of the experience. And some of that's, I'm sure, for development of things like that. I don't know what you call that, like weird, whatever, machine gun tripod, bipod, turret. I guess it's just a turret. But anyway, some of it I'm sure is developing sighting systems and other developments and the mechanics of it, but it's obviously amazing and to watch. And if you're ever next to something like that, the concussion and the smells and the pressures, Bob knows all about it if he's still out there. Like, that's just insane. So anyway, Dylan is a really cool thing that's been around for a while, and this is a glimpse of a 1990 version of a VHS tape that they were selling. They gave to Johnny to show off, and then kind of let people see, and then there's quite a bit of it shown off here in this episode. So then we get to, this is interesting and timely.
04.
Well, actually, this is kind of neat. Is Barbecue still out there? If Barbecue's not out there, one of the people that hangs out with Barbecue, give him this suggestion.
It's a lot of fun.
Not that.
Now, friends, I want to tell you about something that we're going to be offering. We have a collection of wild game recipes. And for those of you out there who like to eat the game that you may harvest in hunting, well, we may have some answers for you. So send $5 and a stamped self-addressed envelope to Wild Game Recipes, care of the Shooting Show, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our zip code is 71104. Remember, $5 for a collection of wild game recipes, and send a stamped self-addressed envelope to Wild.
I don't see Barbecue ever offering anybody any recipes. So yeah, let's talk about the next episode, or the next segment of the show. This is the amount of cheese that we had to deal with in the early 80s.
It is September 1988.
Late 80s.
And the world's attention is focused on Seoul, South Korea, where thousands of athletes are assembling for the games of the 24th Olympiad.
And
among them are 26 men and women representing the United States as members of the U.S. Olympic shooting team. Like all athletes who reach the Olympics, the American shooters have had to make many sacrifices while dedicating themselves to their sport. And while a few Olympians may gain recognition or financial rewards from their achievements here,
listen to this. Get ready for this.
most, like the shooters, have made those sacrifices in pursuit of less tangent, but no less significant rewards. That's why members of the U.S. shooting team deserve special attention from anyone who still understands and appreciates the original spirit and ideals of the Olympic Games.
Right? So, unlike the show-off braggarts and individual seeking fame, right? The shooting sports and like a lot of the Olympic sports, they're saying, you know, are individuals who are doing it for basically very little recognition outside of their, like, you know, very small realm of people who compete. But watch this or listen to this next part.
And that's our goal. To look at athletes who have dedicated themselves to a sport where the true spirit of amateur competition remains alive.
Okay, that's kind of obvious that they dedicated themselves to a sport, or an amateur sport, where the true dedication to the sport remains alive. I've never heard this argument before, and I think it should be used more often.
And to witness a triumph of dedication.
Okay, so I guess this is sponsored by Bush Crossman Air Guns, who, you know, there's a lot of air gun competitions. International Shooter Development Fund, I don't know what that is. National Rifle Association, they don't do anything. I don't want to fund them anymore. I like the GOA. And then Nikon, and then Leupold, and Stevens, and then Smith & Wesson. But that wasn't the part I was actually trying to get you to listen to. Eventually they'll say it here.
Though shooters seldom get much attention from the general media, their sport has been one of the most enduringly popular in the Olympics.
And in all time. So shooting sports are the number 2 behind soccer or golf, I forget. But this part coming up is the point that I think should be emphasized.
Since the modern games began in 1896, shooting events have been held in every Olympics except two, 1904 and 1928. In recent decades, shooting has attracted more participating
This isn't actually it yet, I'll tell you.
nations and athletes than all other sports,
Okay, this might be the part right now.
except track and boxing.
Not that part.
Over the years, shooting has also proven to be one of the most difficult sports for an individual to dominate. Only 11 shooters have won 2 individual gold medals.
Oh, snap! I got a picture of that chick right there. She's the first chick to medal in shoot sports.
And no shooter has ever won more than 2.
This is dated because guess who won way more than 2? That's right, shotgun chick. I can't think of her name.
Among the 2-time gold medalists are 4 Americans, including 2 in recent years.
This part's all super boring, but hold on, the good part's coming.
Gary Anderson and Lona Swigger.
Lona Swigger.
Not surprisingly, Americans have done well in Olympic shooting. In fact,
Girl.
American shooters have won more medals than athletes in all other sports, except track and swimming.
We've won more we've won more medals in shooting than in all other sports, except for track and field and swimming, which is like a shit ton of them, so whatever.
So members of the 1988 Olympic shooting team are certainly part of a proud tradition.
All right, eventually they're going to get to the part that was good.
And in looking at these men and women, it's easy to see why shooting might be described.
Okay, this is the part that I have not heard emphasized enough.
As the world's most democratic sport. Because no other sport produces Olympic-level competitors who differ so much in age and size, and in their backgrounds. The youngest member of the U.S. shooting team is a 19-year-old college student from Tennessee, Scott Sweeney, a shooter since the age of 8. When he took the USJC's BB gun safety education course, Scott has been competing in his event, running game target, since he...
And then he's got a picture where he's got his finger on the trigger? What? And a price tag still on the scope? What?
was 12. In contrast...
No eyewear?
The senior member of the team...
But anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought they said diverse, but they said most democratic, because back in the day, diverse wasn't a word, it wasn't a weapon yet. I mean, a word yet. So anyway, I thought that was neat. So they'd start talking about the Olympics. It's weird that it's a 1991 show, and they're talking about the 1988 Olympics, until I realized that the stupid Olympics only happens every 4 years because of metric some reason. And that means that 1992 was the next Olympics. And this was December of 1991. So in other words, they're probably kind of getting ready for the Olympics to happen. All right, so after that Olympics thing, which I thought was kind of timely because right now we're dominating the shooting sports in the Olympics in 2021, right? Here's baby Larry Pratt when he was a little baby. Earlier in this show, right, we were watching his son Eric Pratt being old. Now here's a little baby Larry Pratt, his dad being a baby.
This is Larry Pratt with a commentary from Gun Owners of America. Waiting periods can be dangerous to your health. Take, for example, these cases. Bonnie El-Masri of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Mrs. El-Masri was threatened repeatedly by her husband, who had a long record of abuse. On becoming convinced in March 1991 that her life was really in danger.
1991, in December, they're putting out a VHS-based program that the Gun Owners of America helped to some extent to produce. And they have a segment, the Gun Owners of America has a segment in December where they're talking about news from March. I mean, I think back in 1991, that's pretty quick, reaction time. News from March, how long would it have taken to get around? So, I mean, I don't know if we have a different sense of time now. But anyway, he goes on and he talks about 4 or 5 different examples of where waiting periods were specifically like detrimental and hurt people. in 1991 talking about waiting periods. So waiting periods were obviously a hot topic, but you can pick this up and put it down today, and it's the same conversation. Does that mean Gun Owners America was cutting edge? Does that mean the conversation has not evolved and that we're still using the same tactics to keep the same status quo? Is that fault, or is that success, or is that, planned stalemate? Like, what the hell is it? I think it's interesting as hell watching this stuff.
Bad part of town, as she called it, and bought a gun on the street. Later that night, a homicidal boyfriend broke through her barricaded door. She saved herself.
So let's listen to that one. I don't like these things for a lot of reasons, including, let's say if you were playing pool, or if you were watching somebody play guitar, or if somebody was making a clay pot in front of you, and they did something and that created an interesting, unique clay pot. It created an interesting chord variation or something, right? Like if you've seen, I forgot what the first example is, if you see somebody do something and they misstep, it creates a reaction where they adjust to to get back into step. So if you watch something happen that's basically either a mistake, an inadvertent misstep, and the correction to that, and you watch that and use that visual whatever cue as some sort of a learning aid, if you build your progression of awareness or whatever, like learning off of that, and you don't have any context and you just interpret that as part of the necessary operation, I'm picking little innocuous things, but there's lots of places where people pay attention to specifics, and when you hear about a specific situation, like this happened to a person and this is the result and this is the conclusion or whatever, I think that's detrimental, because if you're using that as a learning item, then that's too specific. And if you're using it as a indication of a bigger curve, then you're relying 100% on the person offering the information to be also delivering that. So if they just choose 2 points from this, let's say the curve goes like this from bottom left to top right, and they choose 2 weird points here and here, and it would indicate by just those 2 points that there's a drastically different rate of increase or curve or distribution of data, when it's actually quite different. Like, what I'm saying, you're relying on those people who are offering you the individual points. So I really don't like listening to these individual points. So actually, I'm not gonna. This is one where basically a lady, it's a situation where a lady gets denied a carry permit. So he says she goes and buys a gun on the street, and then, whatever, ironically, unfortunately, whatever the word would be, that evening that she just bought the criminal, the bad gun off the streets, the illegal gun for her situation, she needed to use it. So, whatever. I mean, technically that is an indication that that situation is bad, but I think there's better ways to get that across. What do you think? We can make that a poll, but I'm not gonna, because that would take forever. What do we got over here? We've got 12 votes in, and full stopping power is winning, so there we go. If somebody has an idea for a poll, feel free to leave it in here. I use the power of polls. I'm not afraid, or I don't have such loathing or distaste for my audience when we have one of these live conversations that I'm afraid or scared to use the poll. So let's use the poll if you want. Is this letting me super chat my own shit? That's weird. YouTube's like, yeah, you can give your own show money. Go ahead. They're going to take their cut. We were watching Johnny Rollins. What am I doing? So next, that was Baby Larry Pratt. Then there's a music presentation. Look at this. This happens in 1991.
If you're like me, I bet you remember the first time you went out with Dad to shoot your new .22. Hi, I'm Gritz Gresham. I've been shooting and hunting now for a lifetime. This old 22 is a rifle that will always have special meaning for me. So this Christmas, see the folks who will steer you right. Whether for son or daughter, they'll help you select a gift with a lifetime of memories already built in. For the best selection and expert advice, see the real pro in your community.
How authentic and cool was that? That had to be NSSF back when they were decent and they were always doing right and they never did anything bad. So that is a dude who is he's the dad of some guy who's a radio show right now, or maybe a TV show and a radio show.
Your new 22.
Back in the day, he was like a writer and he was on, I think, TV shows, like NBC type of TV shows. Anyway, he's some guy who's famous being a writer and some kind of TV guy. And he's basically just saying, listen to what he's actually saying right now.
They'll help you select a gift with a...
Hold on. Listen to what this guy's saying.
Been shooting and hunting now for a lifetime. But this old 22 is a rifle that will always have special meaning for me. So this Christmas, see the folks who will steer you right. Whether for son or daughter, they'll help you select a gift with a lifetime of memories already built in. For the best selection and expert advice, see the real pro in your community.
So that's a generic commercial for your local gun shop. He says, for the best advice and honest opinion, see the local pro in your community, right? But what did he say right before that?
Built in. Whether for son or daughter, they'll help you select a gift with a lifetime of memories already built in. Whether for son or daughter, they'll help you select a gift with a lifetime of memories already. Whether for son or daughter.
How woke is this 1991 show? And they're so woke, they didn't have to do a virtual signal self-boast selfie to say how woke they were. They just went ahead and included daughters in 1991 like no one give a shit because everybody includes their daughters, right? Come on.
You select a gift with us. See the folks who will steer you right. Whether for son or daughter, they'll help you select a gift with a lifetime of memories already built in.
That is so decent. How many big YouTubers are out there making generic commercials for your local gun shop that'll steer you right? And then it lets people like Johnny Rowland, who's making a VHS, cable show, satellite TV show, click in his local gun shop. And he chose Clark Custom Guns, Keithville, Louisiana. That's how they say it. So let's go figure out where that is. We're going to use Google Maps. Let's go on a little journey. What did I just say? Clark's Custom Guns. This says Shootout Lane, Princeton, Louisiana. Let's go see what it said. This says Keithville, Louisiana. Now we're going to zoom out. First thing you want to do when you Google something is zoom out and get some perspective, see where this thing is. Oh, it's right by Shreveport. Oh, what is that telling us? Here's Clover Tack. Anybody remember that guy? Clover Tack. Let's just say Clover Tack is somewhere between Palestine and Nacogdoches, right? Nacogdoches, right? So he's basically in East Texas, hanging out, doing nothing, minding his business, right? And here's Shreveport. Now, I've literally been on the phone with Clover between Shreveport and his area where he lives, and that's not that far. That's like an hour. So Clover literally lives like an hour from Shreveport, right? And Clark Custom Guns is basically in a suburb of Shreveport. Now we know where it is. We're going to zoom in, and we're flipping to satellite so we can be way more aware of what's going on. Are you kidding me? There's a range right in next door to it? What? What do we got going on here? So we're going to drop the little dude down and look all around. First off, basketball hoop. Strike one. But whatever, they're allowed to have a basketball hoop, I guess. That's the range, I'm guessing. So looks like there's a lot of mosquitoes. Strike two. Sorry, but whatever. A lot of mosquitoes here. What, I'm not allowed to go down this road? Why are you not letting me go down this road? What's up with that? I should be able to go anywhere down this road if I want to. There we go. This is probably it over here with the Coca-Cola sign. Oh no, wait, where was I? It's over here with this truck. Is this it? not an entrance, or else that says entrance. And then they got a Coca-Cola sign right there. Well, it ain't super fancy, but that ain't stopped me from going into a gun shop ever. So I guess that's the gun shop. Yeah, it's only barely an hour away from Clover. He's never been there. You can let him, he can explain that himself, right? Anyway, so that I thought was super tight that I'm guessing NSSF, because dude here was all like totally down with NSSF back in the day. He was like their Coleon Noir, and he did whatever they told him to do. So I thought that was pretty cool. They told him to do something good. Next up, this is back in the day when 9mm was trying to come around acting like it's so good. This is what would happen.
Holster expert and best-selling author of The Survivalists, The Free Man, The Takers, announces the Ahern Tri-Speed Shoulder Holster, ambidextrous, large chest from 45 autos to 44 mag revolvers, Wonder 9s too. Small adjust from rounding high power to just 44 mag revolvers, Wonder 9s too. Small adjust from rounding high power to Chief Special revolvers, Wonder 9s too. Small adjust from rounding high power to Chief Special mag revolvers, Wonder 9s too.
Wonder 9s. We knew what was up back in the day. Stupid Wonder 9s. So next you get an old Colt gun tour.
The best there is.
With this guy. So they were also had this magazine.
I'm Jerry Ahern. I'm here again with my friend Mike
That was the guy from that holster a second ago with the Wonder 9s.
Holloway. And Mike, how the heck are you and I wearing the same clothes?
All right. Number one, the hell are you talking about, dude? This guy's got a coat on. This guy's got a shirt on. This guy's coat and shirt are not red. His shit's red. This guy's got blue pants on. This guy ain't. He's got a watch. I mean, there's nothing similar. This guy's got glasses on. I mean, the hell?
You had an explanation for that, didn't you? Well,
yeah, we're not wearing the same clothes. That's the explanation. That doesn't even, how does that even start a conversation? Things were nutty in 1991. Y'all don't even know what it was like.
Well, all I can say is for 13 years,
So this goes on and on. They're talking about these guns on the table, and, you know, this was legit. So nowadays you get some YouTube channel and they're like, let's buy a bunch of shit and then let's blow it up with some gun or whatever. Let's make them buy some kind of thing or a t-shirt, right? And then they go to school for how to market and make your freaking whatever decisions for you. Back then, they were just like, let's talk about guns more.
Just your standard American traditional engraving.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the next that we've got?
Well, right here we have a gun that has been pictured in two publications.
Look at this is the way you twist information into some sort of alternate interpretation, which is desperate. It's desperation. We see it happening. Wonder and imagination is what's needed to operate a 9mm. Wonder and imagination is what's needed to justify that decision. All right, so that was the Colt tour. And then here's what's happening next. You might go, why does Johnny Rowland put in these little commercials that are just like commercials for nature or whatever, where he's like advertising ducks and stuff? Well, this is because he would syndicate this sort of. He would put this on VHS tape, produce it, send it out to syndication over the satellites. Satellite station would grab it and then hork it, right? He gave it to them. They would hork it and play the show. And during this segment where it's like a duck commercial, they would play a commercial for like, you know, bullshit used cars or suck it up laundromat or whatever, and then make money off of selling commercials to them places. And then Johnny's commercials are in here. This duck commercial gets the shaft, but ducks are always getting the shaft. Plus, these are fake ducks. No duck's ever done anything like this before in real life. You'd think if you're going to make a bunch of fake ducks, you'd make them do things similar to what ducks do. Anyway, so at the end of the duck commercial, which you would seem like, why is there a commercial for nature? Now you know. Next up is this.
You're probably not going to believe this, but you better. You're looking at the incredible Fort Knox gun safe.
I'm going to start saying shit like that. You're not going to believe this, but you better believe it.
And this has to be as pretty an appliance as I think I've ever seen. The paint on this Guardian 600 safe is just beyond description. As you can see on the front of the safe, we have a beautiful mural featuring an elk and some Rocky Mountains. And this thing is just beyond belief to actually see it. This safe retails for over $2,000.
They still retail for over $2,000.
And when you see it up close, you'll understand why. In fact, you'll think it ought to cost a lot more than that. Well, guess what? One of you lucky viewers is going to have this safe in their home as soon as we pull your name out of the hat.
What? So this is going out in February. This is starting in December. I can't even imagine how much it costs to ship a Fort Knox vault. So what the hell? Johnny Rowland was so ahead of the game. It's nuts. We'll end it with this Freedom Arms revolver.
You're looking at the world's most powerful production revolver, the 454 Casull by Freedom Arms. The 454 hurls a slug at 2,000 feet per second, 1 ton of stopping power, twice the power of a .44 Magnum. To show you just how powerful a 454 actually is, we offer a couple of head-to-head comparisons. In our first demonstration, Dick Casull fires a .44.
This is Dick Casull, the guy that invented the modern mini revolver and the 454 Casull.
Magnum and a 3/8-inch thick slab of steel plate. The .44 Mag makes a dent. But the 454 at the same range blasts a hole clean through.
Nice.
Let's see that again in slow motion.
And VHS slow motion means you're going to see like 6 frames of it.
Now
Slowly.
Dick will fire a .44 Magnum at an 8-inch block of duck seal.
Every time I've ever
Extremely
seen Dick
dense
Casull, he's
material
wearing
used
that
to
shirt
test the
and a
penetration
hat like that.
capability of firearms.
He didn't always have
A
gloves
water
on.
jug has been placed behind the block.
So back in the nowadays, like I'm going to make a YouTube channel. I'm going to go buy a bunch of glycerin because I wipe glycerin on myself anyway. And I'm just going to put all my old glycerin into a big bucket. And then I'm going to take and shoot my bullets into the glycerin. Dick Casull, when he's making the 454, just took a bunch of fucking road tar in a big chunk and shot at it.
The .44 slug hits the duct seal with enough force to knock the jug over, but the slug doesn't go through.
Because it's wussy.
It's a different story with a .454.
Watch this.
It blasts the slug through the duct seal and ruptures the jug. Here it is again in slow motion.
You can see the hole. Boom. Through the slab of tar. And then it knocks over a thing of water. So let's say a thing of deers were on the other side of a giant road.
And how
You can
about
shoot right
this?
through the road.
The .454 fired at a gallon can filled with...
What's going to happen? Is it going to dent the can? Or is it going to, 9mm off of it where it goes dink? And it kind of makes a noise. And then it goes dink, 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 dink. And then it rolls over into the grass.
Water blows apart the can and shatters the cement block it's sitting on.
Yeah, well, 454. Suck it. That's what happens if I karate chop a can. So I don't ever karate
Now
chop
we're
cans
proving
because I
that
can't
we
afford the
produce the
bricks.
finest accuracy in any revolver manufactured. To substantiate this claim, every premier grade...
What I'm scared of there is because that's such a powerful revolver, they've set it up so that a robot could use it. And that's messed up. This is the revolver for the laziest of shooters. If you want to take a nap, but you also want to go shooting, get a 454 Casull. It's a giant revolver, so it'll keep you awake, I guess. And if you want to shoot like a half a mile away, some kind of dog or critter, look at this chick. She's like, I'm going to lock my elbows. She knows how to shoot. There's some kid. This is baby Jimmy. That's his mom. That's his sister. She knows how to shoot. She's shot before. Oh, this is Kay Micklick's sister, I think.
When I was in Africa, I took a 454 that had no Magna 40, And after 5 weeks of shooting with it, and shooting with this one, I can tell.
This chick went to Africa for 5 weeks shooting that shit with a revolver. Big ass revolver. I'd be pissed if I lived in Africa. So this is where the tiny, oh no, this is a Kasul arm, so I don't know what the hell else is made there. Oh, you know what? He did make. No, that's probably not the machines from the first one. But anyway, that's where the Kasul stuff is made. Pretty interesting for 1990.
Chamber to bore alignment of 5/10,000ths of an inch tolerance. This extremely close alignment ensures superb accuracy and performance.
I guess that's about
the
it.
cylinder, all major components of each handgun carry the individual.
What's crazy? This is 1991, and look at all of these. Look at all these Freedom Arms. So that is Freedom Arms. So that's where all the mini revolvers were made, right? But look at this table.
The same precision and quality is available in 40.
And then let's go over to the YouTube. And then let's do a search for Freedom Arms. Oh no, it is red. I was going to say that's the same carpet as what he had in like 2011 when we did the interview with him. I guess it is different. But they haven't ever changed their layout since 1991. They just lay their guns down and talk about it. And then Johnny talks about the International Handgun Metallic Association, IMASA, which is in Iowa. There's hardly anything gun-related in Iowa. So there's a couple of Johnny Rollins. I watched a couple other ones, and you can tell the ones I watch because I leave those little index things at the bottom. All right, well, with that, we're at 2 hours and 26 minutes. It says I've had bad internet this whole time. So I know Jimmy. Jimmy's real. Woods, I don't think I ever met Woods. He could easily still be a robot. Nobody knows. Makojo, nobody's met Makojo. DJ, nobody's met DJ, except that I have met Tony, and Tony's met DJ. And probably Tony would have texted me or something if DJ felt like metal. This dude, I guess it doesn't matter because he's a robot that pays me money. And then, what else? Bob is definitely real. This dude, I think is real. And we've seen video of this guy. He would be a very decent looking robot, but nobody's met him. I don't know about this person. And is that it? G23. I don't think anybody's met him either. He could be a robot. But anyway, for the people that are watching that aren't robots, has this been, was that freaky? Makes me want to fiddle with this. So has this thing been intermittent? Because it says my connection's unstable. So if you are one of the humans, respond to that human question. If you're the AI, what's 1 + 1? See, the AI will answer that without thinking, and that's another way you can catch an AI by not paying it when they're not paying attention. Boom. So there we go. There's another chat that's authentic and real. It's focused on 2A and not here to work you into doing anything. Now, on the other hand, if you want to go buy stuff and keep this thing free of working, you can go buy stuff over here. Let's see. We can go over here. Good for like a half an hour. Okay, thanks. And then does that mean the internet's working? So, do we have any polls going right now? I guess we don't have a poll. So nobody said anything about a poll? We'll do it this way then. Which is best, right? And then we got your duck. We got a goose. What else is there? What do they call them things from Canada? Is that a loon? And then, is there a fourth type of bird? I don't think there is. I think there's a fourth type of bird. We'll say seagull. How do you spell it? Oh. So if anybody is still out there, they're not answering the other one, so they're not going to answer this one either. So what's the deal? This says we have 7 people watching, but I haven't gotten only 2 responses. This could easily be, well, actually, this is a human. I was going to say this could be a robot response. But here's the thing. Even if they're not robots, narcs, we've already gone over this, narcs can't answer because of their sergeant said they can't use the internet polls. It's probably something in the Constitution or whatever. So somebody's voting for gooses. I don't know if that's because of goose grease or some other reason. We'll play a couple of commercials here. Why? Number 1, so I can get something to drink. And also number 2, because we care more than the other channels that don't care about the other channels, right? We're going to make another barbecue G23 sandwich. See, when you take Guns and Barbecue and then you put a G23 in between it, and then you take another Guns Barbecue and put it on top, that becomes a G23 sandwich. However, you don't get a lot of G23 in that situation, so let's just assume that you get a little extra helping of G23. Now, let's say it's Sunday, and you're like, all right, I've done everything else important this week, and now, you know, maybe you're thinking Sunday is a good way to start the week, or maybe you think Sunday is a way to end the week. And you're like, Sunday afternoon is probably the most critical, most important part of the week because it's both the beginning of your next work week, right, where you're going to be spending a bunch of attention on creation and working towards goals, right? But then it's also a time to reflect on accomplishments and successes in the prior week, right? So what are you going to do at that important time of your week that's both productive, entertaining, and useful for now and in the future? Well, you could watch Locked and Loaded Latinos, right? Best 2A live conversation each week. Right? Now, let's say you want to buy something and you don't, for whatever reason, you hate yourwebsites.com, where, you know, we make stuff here in Tucson, we publish stuff. I think G23 was asking if the book is for sale. Problem is I don't have any ink. So yes, we can print the books, but no, I don't have any ink. So I don't have them for sale. However, you already bought something, so I'll send you one of the firearms passports if that's what you're looking for. But I will eventually have them for sale again when I can afford to buy some ink. But if you're looking to buy something and you're scared to buy something off of your websites, or for some reason you hate 2A and you're not going to buy something off of your websites, then
we would like to say thank you to owlandanchor.com for great 2A items like these. Go to owlandanchor.com and place an order today.
All right, now let's say that, all right, now you've horked a commercial off of someplace and there's just too many swears on it. So now you got to do something that's different than all the swears that were just on screen.
All right, some people were wondering how we made a Glock hand grenade, and it's pretty simple. First, you take a hand grenade and get the top off, the spoon. This is a lot easier if you don't pull the pin, if you just unscrew it from the grenade. Once you've got
You can watch the whole video on your own time, because I was just playing around right there. All right, so now we've got a bunch of votes. We got 6 votes, 8 people watching. If I'm one of them, that means there's only one narc out there. Who's the narc? Interesting. We could play a thing of Who's the Narc. Here's how you can tell who's the narc. Drop a badge on the ground, and the one that picks it up is the narc. Let's see. So we'll end this one. It looks like Duck 1 being the best is Ducks, I guess, somehow. Goose and Loon came in even. I don't know if that's Bob or somebody else throwing a vote in there for the Canadian duck. And then Seagull basically got the shaft. So nobody likes seagulls, and that's fine because they're flying rats and they're jerks. But there's that Jonathan Livingston Seagull book. So whenever the censorship of YouTube allows me, we're going to go, have you read John, I don't know how to spell Jonathan, so let YouTube figure it out. Livingston Seagull, I don't know how to spell it either. Or Seagull, so there you go. So Livingston, that's probably right, and Jonathan is probably right, and that's probably how you spell have. So yes and no, or I can't read good. For all the people that are scared of answering the question for real. All right, good. So then, what is this? Again, DJ by a link. 35 seconds. Oh. Oh, what the hell was all that? They're being mean to owls. Yeah, this is the book. So it's 45 minutes to listen to this book? Are you kidding me? Nice. So thanks, DJ, for throwing the link in there. I'm probably going to listen to that after the show. So there, that's happening. So it's 45 minutes to listen. Boom. So then, oh, look at, we got a bunch of can't read goods. Those are the narcs. Let's see. So what were we at? We were going to go back and look at what kind of responses we got to the duck stuff. That's a hell of a giveaway. Yeah, it was. I would want that mural. You can still get murals on Fort Knox safes. There's an interesting story behind the safes, you know. So Fort Knox safes are the only ones that I'm aware of that claim, at least, and I believe is accurate, that they source their metal in the United States, make their safes, and then ship them, you know, of course, in the United States, made in Utah. Then you have Liberty safes, which came from Fort Knox safes. They went across the street and started literally, like across the parking lot, and started Liberty safes. It's like literally across the parking lot. And then they source their metal in Mexico and then make them in Utah and ship them around. And then you get every other kind of safe is made in China and then shipped over here on big ocean liners and then put into stores. Most of those are made out of stop sign material with some plaster of Paris poured in between two layers of stop sign material. So they're basically built to look like safes and be heavy, but they're nowhere near the quality of your Fort Knox or your Liberties. And then the stuff that's higher value than Fort Knox and Liberty, of course, is a whole different story. But anyway, you can still get those murals on the Fort Knox ones. They don't pay me nothing, but I just thought it was an interesting deal because Fort Knox is never gets enough credit, and it's probably due to the fact that they're kind of jerks and they don't ever work with anybody because their shit don't stink. Oh, excuse me, they think their shit don't stink. Because it kind of doesn't. They're really good at what they do. So I think that was a hell of a giveaway, and especially with the shipping and stuff back in the day. That's maybe why they went out of business. Let's see. Let's go back to our show and maybe to your websites. I don't know. I don't know if we need to screen share anymore. So that row didn't stand a chance. Exactly. So let's see. Seagulls suck. All right. That was clubby. I don't know what that is. That pole is rigged. No ducks or gooses ever liked freedom. Canadian gooses are bringing Wonder Nines to the... Oh, I didn't think about the idea of strapping nines to birds. So that was about that. And there was a couple of things on Instagram that I was going to bring up, but we're 2 hours and something into it, so you can go look at Instagram yourselves. I think we'll end up ending it. You can't keep it outside. Owners might shoot at that. Oh, okay, now we're talking about the book. Yeah, I read it when I was a kid, too. I remember it being, like, inspirational and, like, you can go do stuff or that kind of thing. So we got a bunch of jokesters who say I can't read good, and then maybe just one person, I guess, that has read it, and that's DJ. We all know who it is now. And then boom. And that, we will say thanks for showing up and watching the show, being part of the show live. It's better when we use this part of it to interact, because otherwise it's boring, scripted garbage. And this way it is legit interactivity, and we use the polls to prove it. Anything else? No. So, you know what I'm going to do this time? Is I'm throwing out a link to the chat for the after chat. What does that mean? For people that aren't narcs, they can use this link to jump in here and chat after the chat with other legit mofos. And then what I'll do is end the show with a commercial at the end. Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourages you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching GunWebsites.com.